A trip across Alligator Alley in search of revenge. FGCU won the first matchup between these two. Now the Panthers hope to return the favor here in Fort Myers, Florida, on Florida's Gulf Coast. Live on the FIU audio experience. Happy to have you along, everyone. Corey Brooks, Nick Garrido with you. Nick, it has been a back-and-forth series between these two teams over the course of these last matchups. FGCU's won 7 of the last 10. The Panthers have had the advantage recently, and now they want to bounce back from that early season defeat at the hands of the Eagles.
Yeah, you can't go by with off records when these two teams play. I think one of the most unpredictable things in college sports, really in any of the sports, is a midweek baseball game, especially in the state of Florida where the depth of college sports, especially in baseball, is just so deep. You have a lot of good teams here, and you know both teams are playing relatively well, too. FGCU's won 2 of their last 3 series. FIU's won 3 of their 4 series in Conference USA. So both teams are riding a little bit high going into this week. And, FIU didn't play their best that first FGCU game, so they got a little revenge on their mind coming into this one. So let's see.
Name of the game, play your best baseball, pretty much starting right now. Conference tournament still a little bit away, but not nearly as much as it used to be. The heart of the conference schedule right around the corner. So midweek momentum on the line, plus bragging rights with the in-state foes, and essentially every player on both teams, they know each other before we even played the first game between FIU and FGCU. And this, the first of 2, be right back here at Swanson Stadium a week from today to make up a game that was supposed to be played a little bit ago. A quick pause, and then first pitch from Swanson Stadium is next.
And now this time we invite you to remain standing for the singing of our national anthem. Leading us tonight is Juliana Shryock.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Back we come here. FGCU will send Jordan Vera to the hill, and right as we talk about how everyone knows everybody else in this in-state matchup, Nick, it's Miami's own taking the hill for FGCU.
Yeah, FGCU has 7 players from South Florida. When I mean South Florida, I'm going to go Miami-Dade, Broward, and Monroe, Palm Beach, not making quite the cut. If you're from Palm Beach, don't yell at me. But we're going 7 players from the South Florida area. FIU's got 10. So FGCU does carry just as much as FIU. And Jordan Vera, redshirt sophomore from, as you mentioned, Miami, Florida. This is his first start since March 15th. Started the game against Stetson. It's been in relief appearances the last 3. He's a guy who can go a little bit long distance. He's thrown 81 pitches as his season high. So he can go 4 or 5 innings if they need be. It'll be interesting to see kind of what their approach is here. But, hasn't started in a month, so I would expect probably both sides will be, as it be classic midweek fashion, to use a bunch of arms. But anytime he started a game, he's given up 2 runs or more. So for FIU purposes, you're probably going to get opportunities to get some hits. Doesn't walk a ton. It's only walked 5 batters all year, so probably going to see a lot of strikes. And for FIU, we'll have an opportunity to swing away.
A lot of midweek madness certainly expected for both teams, and that's reflected in this opening 9 for FIU. It starts out pretty much as you'd expected if you followed FIU all year. Alex Ulloa will hit leadoff, Brylan West second, Austin Deering third, Andrew DeFonso fourth. So a little bit different, but not completely novel. Then it starts to get very different. Kyle Kaler will hit sixth for FIU. Mark Hirsch in the 7th spot. Adonis Velez will hit 8, and Ryan Hunter will hit 9. FIU trying some new things in the midweek game.
Yeah, this is a very different lineup than what we're expecting, especially in that bottom half. You have a lot of guys making their first career starts at their respective positions. When I mean that, Ryan Hunter's first career start in center, did start one in right field. Kyle Kaler's first start in DH, as you mentioned. Andrew Ildefonso making his first career start in left field, has played mostly DH with some pitcher. And even like a guy like Mark Hirsch making only his 4th career start. Adonis Velez making only his 2nd career start. Very young lineup, but those are guys who are all coming in highly ranked, whether it's Velez, Hirsch, top freshmen. And let's see, they'll be able to make an impact here today as we get ready for the first pitch.
Alex Ulloa settles in, and we get ready for our first of 2 over the course of the next week. Vera's first pitch, swung on. Ulloa hits it hard, stopped over at third by Samuel, who makes the play for out number 1. Not waiting very long is the FIU shortstop.
No, and got a good pitch to hit. I mean, it was hit pretty hard, just right at FGCU over at third. Nice play. Just when you hit it that hard and it goes right at someone, hard to beat it out. So, hey, he saw a pitch he liked. Put a good swing on it.
Name of the game. That's exactly what Brylan West is going to try and do as well. He hits second for FIU. And watches strike 1 to begin this ball game here in the top of the first. Second hitter Brylan West.
Yeah, West looking to get back on his start another hitting streak. The game on Sunday snapped an 8-game hitting streak for him.
Loops this one into foul territory and out of play to make it 0-2.
It's been a little streaky, I think, in both ways this year. Before that, he had a 5-game hitless run from March 15th through the 25th. Coach, when we met with Coach Rich Witten, talked about a lot about he really never been in a slump before. Like this was just brand new to him. He's always hit, but it's nice to see him snap out of that with a nice, run that he had that unfortunately ended on Sunday.
Still been on base the last 11 games. A multi-on base day in the last 9. So while the hit tool may have dipped a smidge, he is still incredibly productive. 1-2 to West. Got him looking. First strikeout today for Jordan Vera.
And here comes up next for FIU is another guy who has been recently hitting. Austin Deering had a fantastic weekend for the Panthers against New Mexico. Went 6 for 9 over the weekend, 3 RBIs.
Multiple hits in 2 of those 3 games. 2 walks in the one that wasn't. A monster weekend against a team that is known for its offense, largely because Las Cruces, New Mexico, very high off the ground. Ball flies. Deering goes after the first pitch. Finds Hessemeyer, who makes the play. Jordan Vera's first start in a while gets off to a picture-perfect beginning. 1-2-3 goes FIU. Eagle Bats coming up next.
Fans, here are the keys to the game, sponsored by Coconut Point Ford. Locate pitches, timely hitting, and clean fielding. Fans, FGCU Athletics reminds you to be alert and aware as foul balls may leave the playing field. If you happen to be near a foul ball, please bring it to the marketing table.
Well, it's an ideal start, pitching and defense for FGCU. Now the Panthers will try and match as they send David Eckes to the hill. Here trying to look and keep this a scoreless ball game in the bottom of the first. Eckes has done a lot of really, really good things for FIU, Nick, so no reason the Panthers will expect anything else.
Yeah, only his second start of the year and someone that started more midweeks last year for FIU, so he's got that potential. Started against Jacksonville State back on the 23rd and went 3 innings, so I'd expect him probably to in that 3-4 inning range is what they were like the last 3 appearances since that Jack State game were out of the bullpen, so he's been a little bit of a mix, but yeah, only his second start of the season.
Sends it down in the dirt. Overall numbers for Eckes, 1-0 record, 25 innings pitched. He has struck out 28 while walking just 9. McKee, a half-hearted swing. There's the opening strike against an FGCU hitter.
Now, if we're talking here about Jake McKee, he's someone who didn't play against FIU. Really, he's come on strong since that game and has FGCU since then. Now,
strike 2. He's got an RBI in 4 straight, does Jake McKee. Currently riding a 12-game on-base streak. 2-2. Eckes went to the cut. It just missed. Run it full to the opening hitter for the Eagles.
in many cases, he's probably one of the more improved players on this Eagle team. Batted 189 last year, so he's really kind of found his groove here in this middle part of the year.
First payoff pitch from Eckes. Misses outside. Opening base runner today belongs to the Eagles, and it's Jake McKee. So here comes Evan Dempsey behind him. It's Robert Moya, Mac Moyes, Harrison Povey, Caden Hesmeyer, John Embry, Vincent Samuel, and Jake Mumaw, the opening 9 for the Eagles of FGCU.
Yeah, Evan Dempsey is someone who's really come along for the Eagles. I would say more on the mound. It's not like he's had a bad year at the plate. He's hitting .266, but he's become the Saturday guy this last couple of weekends for FGCU, and he's been fantastic on the mound for them.
Eckes will check over at first. Back in plenty of time is McKee. Evan Dempsey is second in the A-Sun in a familiar category for FIU fans, hit by pitch. Both these teams have a knack for wearing baseballs and getting on because of it. Eckes set. He comes home. His first pitch to Dempsey, sure enough, inside, but it cuts back into the strike zone for strike 1.
And Dempsey's another hitter. We kind of talked about a couple of FIU bats coming alive. Dempsey was 7 of 13 in that series, their series win against Queens over the weekend. So, again, another bat for them that's kind of gotten hot here at the right time.
The lefty Eckes against the lefty hitter Dempsey. You're going to see a lot of those cutting actions. It's going to start into Dempsey and work its way back out. The second was too far outside, so make it 1 ball, 1 strike here in the bottom of the first of a scoreless ball game. Dempsey Stings and it's just over the head of Adonis Velez. McKee's going to take the wide turn. He's headed to third. Into second is Dempsey. Two Eagles in prime position in their first two batters.
Dempsey continuing his hot form. She's really probably been, make case for FGCU, one of their top 2 or 3 players these last couple of weeks. And he did actually, in the first meeting against the Panthers, he did pitch in that game as well. So seeing, you know, saw FIU well the first time, and he's back in there today and leads it off with a double in his first at bat.
He's a bit of a Panther killer. In the first game last year between these two, he had 2 home runs, including a grand slam, to total 5 RBI. So now Robert Moya with 2 in scoring position, and a good save by Mark Hirsch behind the plate.
And this is the one guy you don't want up with runners in scoring position. He's been their best hitter this year, batting .321 as an all-third team selection from the A-Sun last year. Transfer from Bethune-Cookman.
That goes up to .390 with runners in scoring position. 1-0 from Eckes becomes 2-0 as it dips down low. Eckes deals. That is driven to left. Ildefonso retreating, and it gets all the way to the wall. McKee and Dempsey both able to cash in.
The designated hitter,
Check that. Ildefonso able to get out there and make the grab. So it's a sac fly and a 1-0 game in favor of FGCU.
And this is a dream start for them. You get a 6-pitch top of the first. You got your first 2 runners on, get the sac fly, brings in the first run, and you still got a runner in scoring position here for FGCU with 1 out.
And Eckes will look right over that way. So the Panthers do get their first out on a sacrifice fly. But McKee able to score. Dempsey still at second. It was a phenomenal catch by Ildefonso. Didn't look like he'd be able to get to it. He did.
And considering, you know, a guy like we mentioned off the top of the broadcast making his first career start in left field. Yeah, he's played a little bit when he's come in as a pinch hitter, gotten out there, but this is really his first from the get-go, his first real look at left field. Seen him mostly at DH this year, and a little bit of pitch starting, you know, mid-1 start on the mound as well.
He's done some relief work. Defense for FIU, by the way, is Ildefonso, Hunter, and Deering in the outfield from left to right. Infield that same direction is Crespo, Ulloa, Velez, and West. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. The pitcher, Eckes, throwing to the catcher, Hirsch. Lifted into foul territory. Austin Deering's going to run a long way for it, but it's foul and out of play.
Mac Moyes, one of the kind of unique players really in all college sports now, when I want to say this is his 5th year, but all with FGCU. We mentioned, you know, well, I'm sure as we get into the broadcast, mentioned a lot about the transfer portal, a lot of players moving around. Very unusual these days to have someone 5 years and all 5 years with the same team.
Yeah. Had a breakout year last year, did Moyes, playing 53 games and hitting over 300. Moyes again lifts into foul territory and keeps it right where it's at. So 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out, and a 1-0 lead for Florida Gulf Coast.
If we talk about Panther killers, we mentioned Dempsey. Moyes 4 for his last 8 against the Panthers with 1 homer and 4 RBIs. So he's done some damage here against FIU as well.
2 RBI the last time these two met up back in Miami. 1-2 pitch, chopped up. Ulloa will see it cut by Crespo, and West able to hold on over at first. So productive in that it moves Dempsey to third, but it's out number 2, and Eckes will focus on Harrison Povey.
Great play by Crespo that you thought, you know, I think they're both kind of having a laugh over there on the left side of the infield there. Crespo looked like Ulloa was going to come out and try to make the play. Crespo kind of crept in there, and it's probably the right move considering it was a slowly hit ball where you got a runner going fast down the line. Probably your only play. Productive for FGCU to advance the runner, but FIU will take that second out.
Harrison Povey goes after the first pitch he sees and laces it down the right field line and foul. Another player extremely productive in Miami in round 1 of this matchup. A double that catapulted a 3 RBI day. One more lefty-lefty battle for Eckes. And Povey is down 0-2 following a foul ball, this time down the left field line.
Povey's also someone with some power, 9 home runs this year, has a 2-home run game. That came against Bethune-Cookman back on the March 7th. So someone's got plenty of power. He can hit it to different parts of the field as a lefty hitter. Someone that Panthers here with an 0-2 count. You don't want to leave one in the zone for him.
Eckes has some count to work with, and a borderline pitch will make it 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Great pitch by Eckes. Didn't get the call, but that's the pitch you want there. I have 0-2 right there. Wasn't anywhere in a spot to hit, but on that borderline there to possibly get the strike called. Unfortunately, didn't get it.
1-2 did there. Povey swings right through it. Ball in the dirt, throw to West in plenty of time. A strikeout and a 2-3 putout to close the door. But a Moya sac fly has FGCU on the board first. Panthers look to respond on the other side.
1 run on 1 hit, no errors, 1 runner left on base with the score. FIU 0, FGCU 1. Gear up. Next time you're on campus, remember to visit the FGCU bookstore located in the Cohen Center. Fans, FGCU Athletics reminds you to be alert and aware as foul balls may leave the playing field. If you happen to be near a foul ball, please bring it to the marketing table. Play midweek music bingo with us this afternoon. Scan the QR code on the screen or at the marketing table. Listen up for the songs listed on your cards throughout the game, and winners will be announced. The theme is 2000's Hits. Celebrate your Y2K memories. Leading off the second inning for the Panthers, the left fielder, number 30, Andrew Ildefonso.
Top 2 in a 1-0 ball game in favor of FGCU. Heart of the Panther attack will come up, starting with Andrew Ildefonso. Vera's first pitch to him is high and tight for ball 1.
Ildefonso is probably my favorite story from the Panthers this year. Someone who didn't start the year in the lineup, but he gave Coach Rich Witten no choice but to leave him in the lineup.
Yeah. He'll sting this one straight to Muma at short. Jake's throw in time for out number 1.
You know, he'll look to continue, unfortunately get out there, but he'll look to continue. He's got hits in 14 of his last 15. He's been nothing but exceptional for them. And, he's been at the primary DH, now at left field today, but he's done everything that he's possibly could to stay in the lineup.
He'll pass the baton to Javi Crespo. Coming off a 2-walk, 2 RBI finale against New Mexico State. Panthers winning the final 2 games of that 3-game set against the Aggies. Vera comes home with strike 1 right down Broadway.
And it's not surprising to me that FIU swinging away early. I mean, like I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Vera's only walked 5. It's not like he's someone that's going to, he's going to pound the inside of the zone. He's going to give him balls to hit. And this is really the first time I think someone's not swung on the first 2 pitches of the at-bat. So not particularly surprising that they're swinging away early. And Crespo's someone who's done well, 352 average this year.
Third pitch. He does go after that one for a foul tip. Yeah, first pitch swinging for Ulloa and Deering. Ildefonso 2 pitches in. Crespo will see his 4th, which will tie the Panther high here in the early going. And now he'll set a new one as that ball is high and away. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out here in the top of the second, 1-0 Eagles. Chopped up, Muma called again. He plays the hop well. His home field is where he's most comfortable. Out number 2.
A lot of ground balls to the left side of the infield so far. I mean, you expect the shortstop to be the busiest person defensively, and so far he has been for FGCU.
And so Kyle Kaler will get his first opportunity in a while here for FIU. He got a walk against Bucknell. He's walked in 3 of his last 4 games played, but that was the last chance. Nearing the conclusion of the pre-conference slate. Now Kaler back in there and watching strike 1 from Vera. Has to get out of the way of the second.
Nice to see Coach Witten give some players some at-bats here in this midweek game before you kind of hit conference. Kaler's not someone that we've seen a lot. I mean, 1 for 3 on the season, so does have his first career hit already. But someone that we hadn't seen in a while, so it's nice to see him get back in the groove.
Watches one outside to make it 2 balls and 1 strike. Kyle was getting a lot of DH looks early on in the fall process. This is a role they liked him in. That's an incredibly competitive spot on this roster, though. A lot of guys DH and DH well. Swings through it here to make it deuces wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the top of the second.
It's got 3 at-bats, but has scored 2 runs on the year.
Vera's 2-2. Got him looking. A K looking in each of the first 2 innings, and Jordan Vera doing the job and then some. His guys lead it by 1, and the Eagles are going to come right back in search of more.
With the score, FIU 0, FGCU 1.
Cooper Hotels, proud sponsor of FGCU Athletics, offers deluxe accommodations and a special FGCU rate for fans in town for a game or just a visit. Stay at the Homewood Suites or Hilton Garden Inn, Fort Myers Airport, just 2.5 miles from campus and adjacent to the Gulf Coast Town Center.
Fans, congrats to our Culver's lucky fan, Jill from Estero, sitting in today's lucky seat, Section E, Row 5, Seat 9. Jill is going home with a prize pack. Visit Culver's at any one of their Southwest Florida locations and try their famous Butterburgers and custard. It's delicious. Leading off the bottom of the second inning for the Eagles, the second baseman, number 15, Caden Hessmeyer.
FGCU out with a 1-0 lead, and now they go back to work with Caden Hessmeyer, who's been a cool story. The freshman just starting his Eagles career this month, essentially, is Eckes' first pitch. Misses for ball 1. Got right, worked his way into the lineup, and had half his career RBI last weekend, including 2 multi-hit games in that FGCU phenomenal showing against Queens. 1 ball, 1 strike to Caden Hessmeyer.
Yeah, he's played every game in the month of April. Started against FAU on the 1st, played all 3 against JU, all 3 against Queens. It's been really an everyday player, really since April. It's like all of a sudden April kicks in. We're gonna bring him out. We're gonna bring him out, and he's been their primary second baseman.
2 balls, 1 strike. This is where you can discover some things about yourself, especially with a younger team, and Coach Toe has that. Eckes' 2-1 belongs to Ulloa, and his throw in time, out number 1.
Must be a magnet to that left side of the infield. It seems like every ball is going to that either left side. We had the ball to Ildefonso out and left. I think the only one that's gone to the right is the double by Dempsey. Seems like everyone's kind of pulling that way so far this early parts of this game.
Deering had a 4-3 ground out, but even that, to your point, kind of trending over that direction.
Bottom
when it
second
went.
inning, so
Yeah.
it's early, but I was going to say that, this pitch was guaranteed to go to right field on us, but,
Right. John Embry defying the broadcaster's curse, at least for now, as he watches one low for ball one. The catcher Embry, riding a 5-game hitting streak, swings out of his shoes there and lifts it to Ildefonso, who is in front of the track and will make the grab for out number 2. So Eckes settling in here in this second frame, and it'll be up to Vincent Samuel to try and break the rhythm of a 1-0 game favoring FGCU.
Vincent Samuel's someone that's looking to get off the schneid, as you want to say. Last hit was against UNF back on March 28th, so it's been a bit since he's seen it. He's gotten a hit on the year, only batting 190. Only 24 games played, so not the largest sample size for him.
Ball 1 to Samuel. I cannot take credit for off the schneid. That was long before I was even on this earth. Strike 1 to Samuel.
Just came to me. No particular reason.
It's appropriate. During this Passover season, we can go ahead. Samuel at 1-1 does give this one a ride to left. Coming in and making the play at full sprint is Ildefonso. Don't tell him he hasn't started a whole lot in left field. He's looked comfy. Keeps the play routine, and 1-2-3 go the Eagles. FIU wants to answer that 1-run lead with 2 complete.
NCH has been helping Southwest Floridians live longer, happier, healthier lives for over 60 years. Supporting the Eagles is like throwing a perfect game. This is my hospital. NCH says, go Eagles! Eagles fans, sign your young ball player up for FGCU baseball camps this summer. Grades K through 8 youth camps are scheduled for June 9th through 12th and July 7th through 10th, while the grades 6 through 12 prospect camp is scheduled for July 28th to 30th. Come out and learn from Southwest Florida's only NCAA Division I college baseball program. Visit FGCUathletics.com/camps to get more info or sign up today. Now pitching for the Eagles, number 18, Ethan Madison.
Midweek madness indeed. After 2 incredibly strong innings, Jordan Vera will step aside, and Ethan Madison, the freshman, will come in and get some work in for FGCU.
Seen a lot of strange things happen in these midweeks, Corey, but for someone who threw 18 pitches, was what, 6 up and 6 down?
Yep.
Puzzling, to say the least. I probably get that this was the plan going in, and it's a midweek. You got a conference series coming up, but someone only threw 18 pitches through 2 innings. I don't think we were expecting a pitching change this soon.
No, not when you're that effective. And it was all strikeouts and ground balls to boot. So ordinarily, that's enough to buy you some time, even with a pre-prescribed plan. But Coach Toe and the FGCU staff do indeed turn to Madison. Last time we saw him was April 6th, a couple series now ago for FGCU against Jacksonville. He threw an inning, gave up a hit and a run. Did not pitch in the opener against FIU. So this will be his first appearance against the Panthers. The Lake Worth native takes center stage against another Florida team. 7-8-9 for FIU, starting with Mark Hirsch to begin this top of the 3rd inning. Madison, first pitch, strike 1.
Yeah, it was a nice story to see Hirsch on Sunday against New Mexico hit his first career home run for the freshman. He's had some injuries at catcher, seeing a little bit more playing time the last couple weeks, and made his moment worthwhile on Sunday.
Had a really, really strong fall. Was why FIU elected to not redshirt him, even though he's a true freshman. Keep him active for moments like this, as he'll see a 1-2 count with a narrow miss from Madison.
And quite frankly, and you've needed him too, based
Absolutely.
off, coming into the year, Coach Witten loved his depth at catcher, but unfortunately with some injuries, you've needed Hirsch maybe a little more than you thought.
Swings through it here. Ethan Madison begins his day with a K. Back-to-back strikeouts of Kaler and Hirsch, and it will be up to Adonis Velez to try and break the rhythm. Another true freshman steps in for FIU.
Yeah, going back to Madison's a guy who's probably won't see much in long relief. His season high is 51 pitches, so not someone that's thrown, he's only thrown 3 innings once all season, so I would expect maybe 1, maybe 2 innings from him at the most. Then again, it's midweek madness,
Yep.
So who knows what to expect here.
His career high is 3 innings as it's ball 1 to Adonis Velez. And now the count will even at ones. Adonis getting his first at-bat since March 25th against Bethune-Cookman. Super, super high-ceiling guy, though, and Adonis Velez. Will be saying his name a lot over the course of his Panther career. He drifts this one down the right field line and foul.
And it's someone that I wouldn't be surprised to be in the shortstop mix next year, Loa as a senior. So, expecting, that they were going to be needing a shortstop coming in, I wouldn't be surprised to see Velez in the mix next year.
A top 10 shortstop from the state of Florida in his prep career. He'll watch a 1-2 become evened at 2s. Also started for the Puerto Rican national team in the U18 World Cup. So international experience, high pedigree, and that's why he finds himself in the opening 9 for FIU in this midweek. Madison comes home with 2s, and it runs full. Embry had to go way out there to grab it.
I believe this is the first time we've seen someone get up to 3 balls.
Yep. First full count issued by any Eagles pitcher, of which there have been 2. Madison the second, Vera the first. Payoff pitch. Fouled once again, so we'll stay right where we're at. A 7th pitch coming to Adonis Velez.
Really haven't seen many of those either side.
No. This is the longest at bat for anybody so far in the game. Payoff pitch one more time from Madison. This time laced into right and down. The first career hit for the talented freshman Adonis Velez.
Nice to see, looking for, hadn't had an at bat, like you said, since the 25th. First time, he's been up there, works the count to 3-2, gets his first career hit to right field there on the single.
Was working his way to game speed, a little banged up in the preseason, but sky-high expectations, and he delivers a 1-out base knock. Adonis Velez at first with his first Panther hit. And now it'll be up to Ryan Hunter to try and capitalize. Ball in the dirt. Velez stays where he is. So it's a 1-0 count to the hitter Hunter. The 1-0 Eagles lead still standing up here in the top of the third. Ripping on the ball in the dirt to make it 1 ball, 1 strike.
And Ryan Hunter, someone not many at bats this year, only 1 for 5, but that one hit was a big one.
Yeah.
3 RBI triple.
Came against Bucknell. Beautiful bender from Madison. Activates the slide piece and makes it 1-2.
Should add with Hunter, only 1 for 5. Did get into the game both times in the La Tech series. So at least he has been out there. He uses a pinch runner sometimes. So someone who's gotten into the games, but not many at bats.
Stairs as that one catches the dirt. Velez thought about going a second, comes back to first, and he's thrown out. The ball was in the dirt, so Adonis thought he could advance, got caught in between, and a heads-up play with Moya applying the tag on the Moomaw throw. And just like that, it's 2 outs, 2 balls, 2 strikes. A freshman miscue.
Just going to say those exact words. Just, ball in the dirt, took off, just didn't really see where it went. Unfortunately, got picked off.
Stung into left with great pace, and just in front of the track is Jake McKee. So a promising inning leads to a 1-2-3 finish, and Ethan Madison faces the minimum in his opening tour of duty. Bottom third we go, still 1-0 FGCU.
Congratulations to our Bahia Bulls fans of the game, Rich and Crystal from Fort Myers. Thank you for coming out and supporting your Eagles. You're going
What's the
home
viewership
with a
in?
gift card to Bahia Bulls in the Corkscrew Publix Plaza. Now pitching for the Panthers, number 2, Trayson Cameron.
Both teams letting their guy go a couple and then flipping the script. And so David Eckes will step aside for FIU, and Trayson Cameron takes center stage. He's thrown 22 innings so far for the Panthers, 27 Ks up against 13 walks. Trayson Cameron begins this bottom of the third for FIU.
And he's coming off, you can make a case, one of his best outings as a Panther. Pitched Friday against New Mexico State. A little bit of a long relief situation, 2 1/3, 2 hits, no runs, 4 strikeouts. Really since, you can make a case March 22nd against Jack State when he threw 3 innings with no earned runs there. It was the best that we've seen from him. And he had been hit a little bit hard. He's a freshman, and it's going to happen. But it was nice to see him come in the situation when FIU really needed, they were down, I think it was down 5-0, I believe, when he came in that first time. And he was able to cut down New Mexico's offense and allowed their offense to come back into the game and make that a game.
1 ball, 1 strike here to the FGCU shortstop, Jake Muma. T-Cam sails one high that gets by Hirsch. If that's going to happen, a great time for it is nobody on base.
And T-Cam was someone who's got some two-way potential. Haven't seen him at the plate this year, but did bat .375 in high schools with 19 RBIs, 10 stolen bases. So someone that they haven't quite closed the door on as a two-way, but it seems like they're really leaning into the pitching side of things for him so far this year.
Fires in strike 2. That's where he spent the bulk of his offseason as well, up in the Northwoods, getting late game work and developing that killer pitching instinct. His 2-2 fouled straight back. A 6th pitch to Muma.
And we've seen him get it. He's got 1 save on the year, so we have seen him in that late inning role. But it seems like a little bit these last couple games, a little bit earlier in the games, a little bit more of that kind of long relief, and yet someone who also got his first career start the other day.
Tried to loop the breaking ball in there. Instead, it'll run full. So it is the 2nd full count for any FGCU hitter. Jake McKee took a walk off it. Muma steps in, right batter's box, the left-handed hitter against the righty pitcher Cameron. Payoff pitch, lifted foul and out of play.
For Jake Mumos, did not play in 2024. He played in 2023, hit .287, so did get a good amount of at-bats, and he's had some rust as a hitter. He's been a primary shortstop, only 176, but he is coming off a season-high 3-hit game on Sunday.
8-game on-base streak. One more, T-Cam comes home, and again it's sent straight back. So a 9th pitch here. A rude welcome to the game no matter what from the FGCU shortstop Muma.
Or they heard us talking about how these at-bats have been too short.
Fair. 9 total pitches in the second. Here's the 9th to Muma, lifted right up a chute. Hirsch takes the mask off, sprints, and has no play. So a 10th pitch. Again, the combination of Hesmeyer, Embry, and Samuel, the 3 hitters in the second, saw 9 pitches over the entire half inning. Muma's going to get a 10th here from Cameron.
It's exactly what you want to see if you're FGCU. And then from the 9 spot, just Trace and Cameron coming in. Nice little welcome to the game with a nice 10-pitch at bat.
And it's going to be 11. Mumma fouls it right over that FGCU dugout, which is clapping it up. You talk about a leadoff hitter doing the job. Mumma hitting leadoff in this 3rd inning. And that dugout is getting the chance to see everything that Cameron has. T-Cam comes home 3-2. Finally one put in play. It's into shallow right. Eyes for it. And no issue for FIU and Velez.
When was the last time it was hit to right, a ball was hit to right field? Because that was, I think that's the first time in a couple innings we've had a ball hit to right field. That one was a high pop up, but yeah, kind of breaks that streak a bit.
McKee.
Trace and Cameron changing the math. I suppose that's partially when you go from the lefty Eckes to the righty Cameron. Things flip. As does the batting order for FGCU with Jake McKee watching strike 1.
First time we've seen the lineup flip for either side.
Flashes bunt, brings it back, loops right in for Cameron, 0-2. McKee will walk his first time up. And he's down with strike 3. T-Cam's first K here at FGCU.
It's not great to see him there after that long first at bat. Gets the out, goes right back to work. 3 pitches, gets a nice strikeout.
He strikes out, swinging. Evan Dempsey hopes to keep the good going. He's got the loud swing today. His double back in the first. Cameron ready to go. The second, Dempsey settles into the batter's box, and Trayson comes home with strike 1.
Yeah, Cameron working extremely fast so far this inning. He's already ready to go, and they're kind of having to tell him to slow down a little bit.
Yep. Dempsey has to get ready. Cameron comes home the second he can. Driven into right center with great energy, and it one hops right over the wall. A ground rule double. The second 2-bagger in as many at-bats for Evan Dempsey.
I think it was almost hit. It feels like almost hit to the exact same spot. This one was a ground rule double compared to the first one, but it's almost like he's just teeing it up right there in right center.
Had a double in the first meeting between these two. This year, a 2-bag machine. Evan Dempsey looks to create a little 2-out magic. It'll be up to Robert Moya to capitalize. He has the only RBI in this game. 1-0 lead for FGCU here in the bottom of the 3rd. Dempsey in scoring position. Hirsch saves one in the dirt from the pitcher Cameron.
Seems like Dempsey's kind of taking his frustrations out after going 0 for 4 on Sunday against Queens because, man, those 2 balls that he's had, the 2 doubles were hit extremely hard.
Second pitch low and away as well. Clearly trying to keep the ball out of reach for Robert Moya, the FGCU first baseman, who's had an RBI in 6 of his last 8 games, including today. He's got a 3-0 count. All 3 pitches in nearly identical locations, low and away. And Rich Witten will just say, all right, if it's 3-0, you can have 4-0. Intentionally walked on the 4th. Moya heads to first base, and it's 2 on for the Eagles and catcher Mac Moyes.
It makes sense. Look, you got a base open there. He's their best hitter, 321 hitter. 3-0, you probably don't want to give him anything to hit there. I think in that case probably makes sense to be the right move there.
Save 1 pitch on the arm of Cameron. Moyes, there it's a first pitch strike for T-Cam.
I feel like this is one of the first times that FIU has intentionally walked someone like that this year. Haven't seen that often.
No. They usually let their guys battle. This is a different circumstance. T-Cam goes a little looper, 82, dropped right into the strike zone. So no balls, 2 strikes. Mac Moyes with 2 Eagles on and a 1-0 FGCU lead here in the bottom of the 3rd. Cameron's 0-2, swung right through and missed. That's why you give the intentional walk. Bet on your guy. Coach Whitson, Coach Witten do, and Trayson Cameron gets the strikeout, his 2nd in his first inning of work. And through 3 complete, it remains 1-0 Florida Gulf Coast.
With the score, FIU 0, FGCU 1.
Chase of the top with a diamond. our community, just like you. Step into the Diamond District, and you'll see this is their passion, their life.
We offer a vast selection of GIA certified diamonds, engagement rings, exquisite fine jewelry, pre-owned Rolex watches, and more.
Our non-commissioned sales team, who most of them have been with us over a decade, are here to help you, not sell you.
Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Fans, we'd like to recognize the Waski family from Pennsylvania as today's Jason's Deli Family of the Game. Visit Jason's Deli off Alico Road or at their other Southwest Florida locations. It's a family thing. Now pitching for the Eagles, number 21, Leo Giannoni.
Three in the books here in the first of two straight midweeks, FIU FGCU here in Fort Myers. Leo Giannoni will come into this game. He has thrown 8 1/3 so far this year for the Eagles, a record of 0-1, 9 strikeouts up against 6 walks. Eagles making sure their guys get work in here in this midweek, and they turn to Giannoni.
Yeah, and this is, you mentioned only 8 1/3, a little misleading. He's someone that's a grad student, and he's pitched 65 games over his career, starting back to 2021 when he was a freshman at Mercer. Didn't pitch that year, but 3 years of extensive bullpen work, so hasn't thrown that much this year, but it's a guy who's got a lot of arms and a lot of experience.
An all-region player at the D2 level at Columbus State steps in now and will face the Panther leadoff in Alex Ulloa. The sidearm motion drifts the ball down low for ball 1.
Alex Ulloa.
I love this. First team all Peach Belt conference relief pitcher.
There you go. You
Not
get
to
some
be confused with the Sun Belt.
No.
The Peach Belt.
whips in ball 2. You get some fun, different little things once you get to Division II, Division III. The conferences get real widespread and all have pretty unique names. 2-0, high hop off the bat of Ulloa to make it 2-1.
I could use a nice peach delivery right now.
There you go. Probably more citrus-themed oranges down here in Florida between these two. The peach state being Georgia. 2-1. Ulloa goes after it. High chop. Samuel grabbed it in fair territory, and Ulloa able to beat it in plenty of time. That just took a funky hop, and Alex Ulloa takes advantage. His first base knock today.
Yeah, there was no chance he's going to get thrown out on that one. It took a funky hop. I think FGC hoping that ball was going to go foul. Wasn't going to go foul with the way that the hop was. Ulloa quick with his speed, you weren't going to throw him out.
So utilizing Swanson Stadium against the Eagles is Alex Ulloa, and Brylan West will step in. It has been the minimum in each of the first 3 innings. That's a gnarly changeup from that sidearm angle.
Yeah, 43 miles an hour on the board. I don't think that was quite that slow.
I don't think it was quite that slow, but it was slow enough that it sent the radar gun into a tizzy. Check over at first. Not a bad pickoff attempt, but Ulloa's back in time. Alex Ulloa 6 for 8 in the stolen base category. He's tied with Cole Cleveland for the FIU lead. Not something they'll often do, especially with West up. You'd be pretty surprised, but you never know. Ripped in with more velo this time. No balls, 2 strikes to Brylan West as that catch is low and away out of the hand of Giannoni.
Can you throw on more than 43 miles an hour?
Ooh, I put
I wouldn't bet on myself throwing him.
Everything I've got, I might get you to 45 once as that sails out wide.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd bet on myself to throw one over 4.
I think if you gave us both 10 pitches each, we might get 1 to 45 between the two of us. Maybe.
Yeah, baseball wasn't my specialty play.
No, certainly none of the sports were my specialty, but I feel that.
I can serve in tennis over 43 miles an hour.
There you go. 1-2. West sends it straight back.
must not have liked that because that ball came right for us.
Sailed over the press box here at Swanson Stadium. We do have a bit of netting in front of us, so
And a window.
perfectly safe, and the glass. West seeing that one go right by. Tremendous velo difference from the pitch sequence of Leo Giannone, his first K today.
The right
Yeah,
fielder,
he,
number 19,
if you're curious what the
Austin
pitch speed
Geary.
there on that one, according to the boards, at 42 miles an hour.
It was not.
No. So I hope you were saying that because you thought it was higher than that, because I don't think that was 42 miles
No,
an hour.
that was a fastball. That was not a 42
But
mile an hour pitch.
in all seriousness, he's really dealing his pitches here. He's using his speeds. He's not blowing you away 90 miles an hour, but he's really mixing in his pitches very well so far to start this inning.
Comes home with an off speed, low and in for strike one to Austin Deering. Giannone set belt high, drops that arm beneath the belt, and comes with the sidearm almost submarine action to Deering. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, and a 1-0 lead for Florida Gulf Coast here in the top of the 4th. Deering grounded out to Hessmeyer his first time up. Now more of a sliding action that dovetails its way out of the strike zone.
I don't think we'll see him because he threw Sunday, but man, it'd be fun if FIU threw Bryce Turner in the bottom of the 4th.
Sure.
Because he's probably the closest Panther, not the same exact delivery here, but probably the closest to what we're seeing right now from Leo.
2 unconventional approaches. Throwing a literal changeup, not the pitch, but the guy on the hill. Giannone's 2-2. Becomes 3-2. Slides across the strike zone to the outside part.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a hit and run here. 1 out, good, decent speed at first. Let's see if we activate Alex off first.
The full count, 1 out. Ulloa is picked off. He leaned towards second, and that was enough. Giannone and the Eagles were thinking the exact same thing as you, Nick.
Yeah, it almost seemed like there probably was going to be a hit and run there, the way he leaned. Probably not leaning that way unless he was going to be on the move, but yeah, he looked like he just got his foot stuck, and once that happened, once that throw came, he had no chance.
3-2. Deering will put this one in play. Mumma sees it just out of reach. Deering put it up the middle. The shortstop couldn't get there, and the Panthers do extend the frame.
Tough luck there because, with Alex getting picked off, we have a difference between runner on first with 2 outs compared to first and second with 1 out. Big difference here, but let's see if FIU can get some 2-out magic going here.
Well, AD's got his first hit today, and FIU looks to Andrew Ildefonso here in the top of the 4th. Panthers looking to get their first runner in scoring position on the ball game. Ball rises high, ball 1.
And if you're the Panthers, this is probably the guy you want up. I mean, considering probably the hottest Panther right now at the plate.
6 RBI weekend for them in Game 3, the most recent played for FIU. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And one of a couple Archbishop McCarthy High School graduates in the lineup today for the Panthers.
I was going to say, his high school teammate Ryan Hunter's right there with him.
Yep.
Hitting 9th for FIU today. Stares at that one, but it will dip into the strike zone. Giannone gets the swing and foul tip, held by Embry. Right back to the off speed. It's a 2K top of the 4th. FGCU pitching the headliner here at Swanson Stadium.
Runner left on base with the score: FIU 0, FGCU 1. Okay, Swanson Stadium, it's Jersey Mike's trivia time. Our contestant, Bob, is here ready for some baseball trivia. Here is the question. Coors Field in Denver, Colorado has the highest altitude in the MLB. Which stadium has the lowest altitude? Is it A, Lone Depot Park in Miami? Is it B, T-Mobile Park in Seattle? Is it C, Oracle Park in San Francisco? Bob guesses C. And that's correct. It's Oracle Park in San Francisco. It is located right at sea level. Congratulations, Bob.
One nothing, the Eagles lead as we go to the bottom part of the fourth inning, and we do so amidst some trivia controversy. The question in between innings was what MLB stadium has the lowest altitude, and it listed Seattle, Miami, and San Francisco. Of course, Nick and I both thought Lone Depot Park here in Miami, but the answer was given as Oracle in San Francisco. Harrison Povey watching ball one on the outside from Trace and Cameron, with the apparent distinction being that San Francisco is at 0 feet above sea level. Miami is about 6 feet above sea level, swing and a miss by Povey.
Although if you look at, there's a simple Google search here. The elevation in San Francisco is 52 feet above sea level. So according to what I'm looking at here, Miami would be the right answer. We're going to have to get into some investigative journalism here.
Popped up into shallow right field, ranging over is Deering and making the play for out number one. Yeah, I don't want to question our hosts. It's probably impolite, but that said, it is tough to get lower than here in South Florida. We can all see the ocean from pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's, like here, the New York Times, it's one of the lowest ballparks in altitude. It's definitely low.
I'm not questioning that.
Is it lower than Miami?
Ball one to Hesmeyer. There's a reason we don't have basements here in Florida. Hesmeyer watching to make it 1 ball, 1 strike. (1-0) lead here for FGCU. 1-2 to the true freshman, Caden Hesmeyer. Hesmeyer loops it over. That's handled by Javi Crespo, who's across the diamond in time for out number 2. So it'll be up to John Embry to try and extend this bottom of the fourth. FGCU leads it 1-0.
The catcher,
Embry 0 for 1 on the day.
Embry.
He flew out to Andrew Ildefonso back in the second. And Embry's first pitch swinging, fouling out of play to the right side.
According to this Athletic article I just pulled up, it says that the Giants are third. Marlins is second. So Marlins is not even 1 according to this. This one has Oakland, although Oakland's no longer in Oakland.
Correct.
So I guess in reality, the Marlins,
which was one of the 3 possible choices on the board.
should win now. I don't know.
I think we may have won our fact check. As
I'll leave it
that's
at that.
Lifted by Embry into right. It's got great carry. It continues to go and go and go. The 3rd home run of the year for John Embry comes with 2 outs, and the Eagles double their lead.
John Embry, someone who doesn't have a lot of hasn't had the power numbers, only his 3rd homer of the season, so didn't really expect, the long ball to come out here, but he got a hold of one, and it just drifted past the right field wall, which not a lot of balls have been drifting out to right field today, so kind of broke the trend there of a ball hit deep to right.
One of a couple freshmen playing their best baseball right now. Vincent Samuel watches strike 1. John Embry has seen about half his career at bats, hits come in the last 5 games. He's got a 6-game hitting streak right now. That encompasses pretty much all of the production in his young career. Vincent sends it over to Crespo in time for the final out, but not before John Embry changes the math here in the 4th. A sac fly and a solo shot home run represent all the scoring, both for the Eagles. Panthers try to answer the 2-run deficit as we go to the top of the 5th.
All right, fans, get on your feet for the FGCU fight song.
Yeah, but I'm gonna get it done. Yeah, but I'm gonna get it done.
What are you gonna get done?
Leading off the 5th inning, the third baseman, number 6, Javier Crespo.
First pitch drifts in, strike 1 as we go to the top of the 5th. Javi Crespo hitting leadoff for FIU. Kyle Kaler and Mark Hirsch behind him. Leo Giannoni out for his 2nd inning of work, and he floats in ball 1 on the inside part of the plate.
Man, I love his delivery. It's just it's you know, it's that sidewinder, but it's just he's mixing his speeds. You don't really know what's coming. It's kind of the full side, then he kind of abbreviates it with some pitches. Considering you don't see too many of those.
No. That arm slot's around 8 o'clock. As that's rolled over to the right side and out of reach of Hessmeyer. Well, freshman miscue each way. Javi Crespo reaches accordingly, and the Panthers begin the 5th on a strong note.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see what the scoring decision. It looked like it took a funky hop off the mound, and it just kind of fooled the second baseman for FGCU there. Let's see what the scoring is on that one, but I could see a hit there just because of the way it bounced off the mound.
Officially goes as an E4. I would make my counterpoint that it hit the glove.
Yeah, I would say E4 too. I would agree with that, but I could see an argument for both sides there on that
Absolutely.
one. Because the way it went off the mound, it definitely took a curve. But usually if you're scoring, usually if it hits your glove, you should make the play. Right. I would agree with that.
Giannoni's got an 0-1 count. The young Kaler will see it leveled at once. There's basic dumb football logic, which is if a wide receiver gets his hands on the ball, he should catch it. That doesn't necessarily apply to baseball.
No,
and frankly,
not at all.
It doesn't even apply to football.
And that's different than just a ball hit straight at you.
Right.
There was some movement on that one.
Woo! Kaler takes a massive hack, falls to a knee.
Speaking of movement.
And is at 1-2. He was guessing more up in the zone. Giannoni dropped the off speed down in the bottom part. Kaler's looking for a home run. But this time flexes the patience to level it at 2s.
I mean, he's someone that hasn't had a ton of at-bats, so trying to make the most of your opportunity here.
For sure. An extra base hit for him would be his career first. 2 balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. Top 5. Kaler chops it up. Giannoni fields his position and flips in time for the out. Still productive, though, because Crespo goes to second.
Yeah, he thought about it. He definitely gave second base a look there. Saw
The
Crespo was
catcher,
pretty
number
far.
12,
Makes the
Mark
smart
Hirsch.
move here. You're up 2-0. Get the sure out and move on to the next at bat.
So one Panther newcomer to another. Here's the catcher, Hirsch. And for the first time today, the Panthers have a runner in scoring position. Giannoni will see it fouled straight back by Mark Hirsch. This was the part of the order that was handled very well by the combination of Vera and Madison. Faced the minimum the entire first time through the FIU attack. Pickoff attempt at second was a little bit delayed. Took a minute to get back there for Caden Hessemeyer. And that allows Crespo plenty of time to retreat.
And again, for FIU had some couple base running miscues there. That for a second there looked a little dangerous.
Instead, Crespo remains at second. Hirsch settles into the left batter's box with an 0-1 count. At 7 o'clock swing, sits Mumma up, and the FGCU shortstop has out number 2. Crespo, though, to third. So a base knock by Adonis Velez would cut this margin in half.
The second baseman, number 8, Adonis Velez.
Adonis already got his first Panther hit, did so in the third. Another one here, and he'll have his first FIU RBI. Velez, a half swing as that just flutters into the strike zone for 0-1. Pitch speed listed at 62. That's probably pretty close.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Giannoni this time almost throws a softball rise ball well out of the zone. Overhand guys cannot truly throw a softball rise, but if you're throwing at almost 6 o'clock on the clock, you can get pretty close. That stung right up the middle. Adonis Velez, earlier his first career hit, now his first Panther RBI, and this game is now just 1 run of separation.
Great at bat there from Adonis, just reaching back, smacks it into center field. Like you said, 2 for 2 on the day. He's got half the FIU hits so far here in the top of the 5th. First career RBI, first career hit. Can't complain. What a great day for the true freshman.
First career multi-hit day for Adonis Velez, and sure enough, all that promise and pedigree coming to bear against in-state competition. Ryan Hunter watches one just above the dirt. He's ahead in the count. So now it's 2-1 FGCU here in the top of the 5th with 2 outs.
And FIU making FGCU pay after that leadoff error to open the 5th.
An unearned run on the stat sheet, very much earned on the scoreboard, and the line of Adonis Velez. One-one, Ryan Hunter takes the high hop and gets it off the glove of Samuel. The Panthers continue to find the sweet spots here at Swanson Stadium, and this inning will continue.
And now your best hitter with 2 outs, in terms of 2 outs, RBIs coming to the plate. And Alex Ulloa with 11 2-out RBIs, which leads the team.
Hunter just drives it into the dirt. It hops into the stratosphere. And so Ryan Hunter has his first hit today. Ulloa is plunked. 2 teams that have a whole lot of hit-by pitches right atop their respective conferences. And just like that, it's Brylan West, bases full of Panthers, and West is due 0 for 2 on the day.
This is his 4th at bat with the bases loaded so far this year. For West, he's 1 for 3.
He will face Giannoni for a second time. That was the case for Ulloa as well. West, first pitch swinging, gets it through the 4-3. Velez scores easily. Hunter's coming around. He will score. The Panthers take the lead. The throw to third is not in time. Ulloa makes it FIU runners at the corners, and Brylan West moves the B West backyard to Fort Myers. Panthers on top for the first time.
And it was a great job by Ulloa there at first, getting out of the way of the pitch, because he was looking like he was going to run into the ball, which would have been unfortunate for FIU because that would have been the end of the inning, but was able to get out of the way. Ball squeaks into right field, and from there, Panthers running the bases, take the lead.
Sure enough, Brylan West, you know when he's 0 for 2 in a game, there's something cooking. He just does not stay down for that long. Goes between first and second base in that 4-3 hole. Panthers lead for the first time. Now Austin Deering gives it a ride into right. It continues to drift towards the wall, but it'll eventually sit in the glove of Harrison Povey. But not before Brylan West gets FIU going, as he so often has in his Panther career. FIU flips the script. 3 runs on 3 hits. Panthers on top, headed to the bottom of the 5th.
3 runs on 3 hits, 1 error, 2 runners left on base with the score. FIU 3, FGCU 2.
At the Hampton Inn and Suites Fort Myers Estero, we're not just a hotel, we're your vacation wingman. Calling all FGCU Eagles fans. Our beds are so comfy they'll have you dreaming of home runs and grand slams. And our pillows? Most free hot breakfast is like a morning hug from your favorite grandma. We've got waffles that'll make you flip. Our heated outdoor pool is where the magic happens. It's so inviting, even Azul wants to take a dip.
Congratulations. Bird of the game, Jalen, a junior from Clewiston. Thank you for coming out and supporting your Eagles. Now pitching for FIU, number 22.
Back at it here at Swanson Stadium. Happy to have you here on the FIU Audio Experience. Corey Brooks, Nick Garrido, and our whole team here with Florida International University, seeing the Panthers currently up 3-2 as we go to the bottom of the 5th, and FIU makes a pitching change, turning to Julian Majinski, a 4.50 ERA, 0-0 the record in his 12 innings pitched. He has struck out 16 while walking 10.
Hasn't given up an earned run his last couple outings. Pitched at Miami on April 2nd, pitched against New Mexico on April 12th. Combined 2 2/3 there, no earned runs. So someone who's had some success lately. Expect him probably to go about I would be a little bit surprised if he went more than an inning, but he's done that. He's usually around an inning. Hasn't thrown more than 2 this year, so probably that's what you'd expect at this point. But someone's had success lately, so it'll be interesting to see how he does here with a 1-run lead here in the bottom of the 5th.
He'll face 9-1-2.
And it's interesting because if you go back to what he's done in community college in 23 and 24, he was mostly a starter.
Right.
Started 13 games in 23, started 12 games in 2024. But he'd be using the complete opposite kind of role this year.
Flashes bunt, brings it back in time, though. So a 1-0 count to the Gulf Coast shortstop. And that margin will double, so make it 2-0. His team nickname is Juju, but I think every single broadcast we have called him the Magician. That is a nod to our friend Zach Letson in what is the best nickname that any of us have come up with, I think, for an FIU player.
I kind of had an
That is lifted into shallow left, and it's down in front of Ildefonso. a leadoff base runner in Jake Muma.
I was just gonna say I kind of had like an over/under in my head of how many pitches it was gonna take for you to bring out the Magician. I thought it was gonna be like the second at bat, so you kind of beat me. Should have taken the under.
Always.
But yeah, Zach's called. I think we just permanently just kind of call him the Magician. We have to ask him how he feels about that, though.
We should. We should. I ran
Let's ask our great SID, Jonathan Mayer, to
there you go.
Give him an ask to see if he approves the Magician label.
In a potential spoiler for FIU-related content later in the week, I did get the chance to ask Keshawn Frett what he thought about the signature home run call. Keshawn Frett making a splash, to which he said he loves it. So we're at least 1 for 1 in things that we've asked so far, as Jake McKee lifts it into foul territory out of play.
If you're interested to see that whole version of that podcast, it'll be out on Thursday before.
Oh, I wasn't going to say what it was. I just said we happen to be talking
right.
to.
We know a Pause Up podcast, not Pause Up podcast. That's
whoa.
I shouldn't be saying that.
Copyright infringement.
I'm thinking of the Pause Up podcast, which, by the way, may or may not have a guest coming up. That maybe that's why that's on my mind. But the FIU Athletics podcast has not come out for April yet, so I wonder when that's coming out.
Right.
So many podcasts.
I was going to leave it vague. There are.
Sorry, podcast. Our friends over at the Pause Up podcast do a great job over there.
Pick off attempt, move on back in time. There's too many podcasts, might be the headline on society in general. There are a lot. Now, we're fortunate to have a unique lane to cover here in FIU Athletics, but man, as the 1-1 is swung on and missed, pop throw down to second in time. Mark Hirsch puts a halt to the steal bid, and Muma's hung out to dry.
I love the finger swag there from Hirsch after he gunned a runner out at second there. Little Dikembe Mutombo there. You're not running on me today.
All right, true freshman behind the plate, no chance. But again, Hirsch came into this year with great momentum. He's really playing the best of any of the catchers in fall. So he's got all that juice going. That's lunged out by Crespo on the left side. Throw in the dirt, though, gets away from West. All the way to the back, and it will just like that turn into 2 bases for Jake McKee.
Which almost makes the Hirsch play look even better now because, you know, that doesn't happen one pitch before that. FGCU ties the game.
Number 25, Evan Dempsey.
So an E5 puts McKee up, and Evan Dempsey, the left-hander, steps into the right batter's box.
But going back to our catchers, you know, what we obviously talked, we knew about Rene Lastros, who hasn't played, unfortunately, due to injury in a while. We knew about him as it looks like Karsten's going to go out here for a mound visit. But gives us some time to chat here. We talked about, we knew Brandon Rooney coming back as the vet from the group. We mentioned Nelson Rivera-Flores, who missed last year due to injury, you know, is coming back. So we figured, all right, you're probably going to see those 3 between Flores, Rooney, and Lastros handle it. And Hirsch, you know, as a true freshman, probably not going to get a lot of reps, but because of the injuries, because of the way he's played, he's been able to get reps, and you've seen the potential there. I mean, that was it. From the moment I left his hand, I'm thinking to myself, he's got him at second.
Clean work by Mark Hirsch on a relatively quick meeting of the minds on the hill. 2 successful base runners against Majinski. The single in the E5. And it's also, hey, how do we pitch Evan Dempsey, the thinking for Karsten Whitson? Because so far, Dempsey is 2 for 2 with 2 doubles.
And 2 doubles in pretty much the exact same spot there in right center.
Both came early. 3 pitches for the first 2-bagger, 2 for the ground rule 1 in the third. So we sit bottom 5, Panthers leading by 1. But a great start for Majinski, a swing and a miss by Evan Dempsey.
Couldn't ask for a better start there.
Jake McKee at second for FGCU.
I should say if you're rooting for FIU.
Of course. Sweeps across the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. In South Florida earlier this year between these two. We'll have this one, and then a week from today, a little day baseball in a makeup game, one that was canceled due to weather. Just a casual check over at second. Back in plenty of time was McKee.
Yeah, this is FIU and FGC looking to complete their first game here at Swanson Stadium since 2023.
Yeah. It has been tough to get these ones in. But fortunately, all good here on Florida's Gulf Coast tonight.
And it hasn't just been weather. It's just been, we've had just some random,
Yep.
funky midweek madness here.
Absolutely. That comes in, and it nabs the foot of Dempsey. So it drops off the table out of the hand of Majinski, bending in, catches Evans' cleat, and there's 2 on with only 1 out here in the 5th.
Looked like maybe a warning was issued there on that. I mean, it didn't look like it was any harm there. It kind of just bounced in the dirt, but it's like the home plate umpire taking no chances there, considering Dempsey was 2 for 2 on the day. And there was a base open.
Right. And with 2 teams right next to each other, there's always that thinking of, proximity breeds contempt.
The umpire took a kind of a slow walk halfway to Majinski out there.
Moya watches strike 1. Robert Moya intentionally walked back in the 3rd on a 3-0 count.
And still hasn't had an official at-bat yet, even though he's been up there twice.
Sack fly back in the 1st.
I always find that funny to say in the late innings hasn't had an official at-bat, even though he's been up there twice.
It's one of those tricky things, especially when a guy gets an RBI.
Correct.
Oh, boy.
Sack fly. I mean,
Yep.
he did his job and then got intentionally walked.
Right.
Couldn't.
He had a great day. He walked 4 times. He had 0 at-bats. Just kind of the silly baseball stats of it.
Don't we love baseball?
Why we always look at on-base percentage now. Batting average it's not what it used to be. On 1 to Moya, just above the plate. Make it 2-1. Baseball rules and scoring, full of plenty of those. This is the case when this happens, unless the other thing happens, then it's not. 2-1, knocked down by Hirsch. That was in the other batter's box, so a great job by Mark to just keep it in front of him.
I was just going to say, Hirsch's defense here has been, especially considering for the jump from Sunday to Tuesday, has been fantastic so far here today.
3 balls, 1 strike to Moya. McKee at second, Dempsey at first. FIU leading 3-2 in the bottom of the 5th. And now the bases are full of Eagles. Moya watches it low. So a single, an error, a hit by pitch, and a walk. But no runs coming across yet because of the caught stealing. And so the veteran Mac Moyes comes up, and Majinski looks for that magic ground ball.
Yeah, it was a little interesting, I thought, how much he was paying attention to McKee at second, considering he's 0 for 0 stealing bases. It's not someone that I would have expected to take off for third, but it seemed like it was just kind of preoccupied there with a runner at second.
And it's ball 1 to Moyes. Of the 3 guys on base, only Dempsey has a stolen base. He's got a lot of them, 10, but the other 2 guys, 0.
Yeah, so it was interesting. I mean, you had 3 pickoffs to second, and, you obviously don't see runners going from second to third very much.
1-0 swung through it, so make it 1-1. Though, the understanding the other end is this has been a game of stealing outs, pickoffs, caught stealings that have all been incredibly impactful. And right now, it's an early hinge point in this game. Bottom 5, bases full. Moyes got it, and it got him. So a hit by pitch brings in a run. The second plunked Eagle of this inning. McKee scores, and just like that, we're tied again.
The center fielder, number 31, Harrison Povey.
Both teams get hit by pitches a lot, and it's been no different.
Moyes understanding the assignment, doing the job. Had 2 RBI the first time these 2 met up. He'll pick up half that without the at-bat. He wears it and passes the baton to Povey. And Harrison Povey takes a big swing, looking to pull it beyond the wall in right. He misses, so it's 0-1. One ball, 1 strike. Povey had his 50th career home run last weekend against Queens. He is one of the best home run hitters in the A-Sun. He now hits with the bases full for FGCU and still just one out. Povey, slow little dribbler, and it gets by the glove. Just a bad beat, and this inning begins to get away from FIU. Crespo was coming in. It was an incredibly slow roller. Squirts by the leather, and FGCU reclaims the lead.
Yeah, this inning's kind of, you've seen it all. You've seen, someone picked off at second stealing. You've seen hit by a pitch to bring in a run, slow dribblers. Kind of seen it all here in the bottom of the fifth. I mean, we expect no different here, in a midweek game with especially, with a lot of teams having series now Thursday through Saturday, FIU also having one of those against Kennesaw due to Easter Sunday.
That one popped up by Hessmeyer, fouling out of play. Povey will get credit for the single. I'll argue there was no play over at first regardless, even if it was picked up clean by Crespo because it was such a slow roller. May very well be true.
Definitely didn't have a play at home. And that was obviously would have been the closest distance, but he wouldn't have been able to gun the runner out at home either.
Single makes it 4-3 FGCU. And a 1-1 count becomes 1-2 here to the newcomer, Caden Hessmeyer. Bases still full for the Eagles. Moya, Moise, and Povey. And fouling out of play over the Panther dugout. Majinski will see that blasted through the 5-6. Caden Hessmeyer's first hit today capitalizes for FGCU. Moya comes across, and the Eagles really pouring it on.
The catcher, number 8, John Embry.
John Embry gets to hit. The bases still full for FGCU in a 5-3 game.
Seeing 6 combined runs here in the fifth between these two teams here. So as you'd expect in a midweek with a lot of pitchers you'd expect the runs to kind of be aplenty here. And we're finally kind of seeing that break open here in the fifth.
5 straight successful plate appearances. The last 3 have all been RBI. Embry out in front of the first pitch. He swings at it 0-1.
And to remind the audience, why we haven't seen a mound visit is pitching coach Carson Winston went out there to talk before the Dempsey at bat. A little early in the inning because he was 2 for 2. Probably to talk about that, so unless he's going to make a pitching change, cannot come back out again.
Embry lifts that one into shallow right. It's a long way for Velez to go. Get helped out by Austin Deering, who makes the grab, but since it was 1 out, it drops all the way through. Deering had a real chance at it, but there was no play. And FGCU continues to just keep this good going. John Embry, who already had a home run, brings home another big burst for FGCU.
Yeah, tough play. Long run out there, but was in the glove, just wasn't able to grab it. You could tell Deering a little upset of himself here as we're going to have a pitching change coming here for FIU.
Carson Whitson heads out and goes to signal to the bullpen. 4 straight runs brought in for FGCU. And the Eagles up 6-3. A lot of unearned runs on the line of Majinski. They all certainly count on the scoreboard. 9th hitter in Vincent Samuel coming up on the other side for the Eagles.
Now pitching for FIU, number 13, Bryce Green.
Pitching change as Bryce Green will go to work here against FGCU. It's a familiar opponent for him. Went against the Eagles through a third of an inning. Now he'll look for at least 2/3 in the most challenging spot with the bases loaded.
Yeah, it's interesting with Bryce because you mentioned he did pitch in that first game against Florida Gulf Coast. We haven't seen him since.
Right.
Only threw a third there, walked 2. Wasn't particularly effective there, and he's someone that they were very high on coming into the year as a kind of a short-term option to get an out, get a couple outs. And unfortunately, it's just baseball. It just hasn't worked out well for him so far this year. But big opportunity here to get some confidence here. I mean, it's a tough spot. Bases are loaded, and it's the toughest spot you can come into as a relief pitcher. But for someone who's looking for some confidence here, this hopefully presents an opportunity for Bryce.
The sliver of the benefit for him is there's 1 out, not none. So 1 magic ground ball could save the day. Vincent Samuel, who is 0 for 2 today, watches strike 1 in from Bryce Green. Green at 3 2/3 overall on the year. 5 strikeouts. Povey, Hesmeyer, and Embry, the 3 base runners here for FGCU. They have already scored 4 in this inning. A beautiful off-speed by Bryce Green has Samuel way in front.
And Bryce, obviously, like you mentioned, only 3 2/3. Did throw 20 innings last year, so it's someone who they've relied on a decent amount. 19 appearances, and only pitched in 7, but someone that does have some experience.
Right back to that off-speed, but it starts too far outside.
I think it's still a good waste pitch there from Bryce there.
Especially on 0-2. John
Yeah.
Embry, by the way, officially reaching on the E9. That ball that Deering had, and it just popped out of the glove. Way in front again. Bryce Green's first K today.
Huge strikeout there for FIU.
FGCU will bat around, though. And we'll see Jake Mumai's second time. It was his single and then caught stealing that began this 5th inning.
He was kind of predicted, considering how this inning that we'd still be back here hitting again.
And he will watch an opening strike from Green. Now if you're Bryce Green, you just put the runners out of your mind. They don't matter. You get the guy at the plate, and you clean up after coming in with 1 out, bases full. A 6-3 lead for FGCU, courtesy of 4 runs here in this 5th. Green whips that one inside.
Looks like it's 3. I thought
it is
3-0. Yeah, so it looks like no. He's
3-1.
correcting it.
3-1.
Yeah. Yeah, he's trying to correct the scoreboard here.
3 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. Green with the bases full. Ultimate hitters count, sees it chopped up. It's really high. It's over the head of Green, and there's no play. Sky high hop. Base knock for Mumai, his 2nd of the inning, and FGCU leads by 4.
Seems like we've seen every hop possible out here today. It's just one of those days where, for both sides, just seen a lot of crazy hops, a lot of high hops, and resulting in probably more infield hits than I've seen in a while.
So Jake McKee, who reached on the error in this exact same inning. Another unearned run on the line of Majinski. Strike one to McKee. And a good stop behind the plate by Hirsch on a ball well away. This has certainly been the offense inning for both teams. Like you mentioned, now it's 8 combined runs between FIU and FGCU here in the 5th.
Only had 2 combined runs in the first 4 innings.
Right. 1-1, McKee stings it, and reaching up and snatching it is Adonis Velez. That right there is why FIU is so excited about the future of this middle infielder. Adonis Velez goes full vertical, snow cones it at the top. With the bases loaded, Adonis Velez does keep FIU in striking distance. But 5 runs on 3 hits. Panthers have their work cut out for them as we go to the 6th.
Get up and dance. The marketing team has some swag for the dancing queens with the best moves. Now pitching for the Eagles, number 33, Maddox Meeks.
Well, let's see if the 5th was the blip inning with all the runs or the beginning of a script change as FGCU turns to the freshman Maddox Meeks. He has thrown 2 1/3 so far, one of the midweek bullpen guys for the Eagles.
Yeah, and he's been particularly effective. He's only given up 2 runs in those 2 1/3, so someone that has had some sort of success for FGCU in this kind of midweek relief. He's pitched against Miami, legit, ACC team, only 1 run in 1 inning. Only threw a third against USF, hit around a little bit with 3 hits, but only ended up giving up 1 run 1 earned run charged to him, and threw it in against FAU on the first. So let's see how it is. He's been the kind of midweek Florida kind of pitcher. So let's see how Maddox responds here for his 4th outing of the year.
I'm not sure if the Hurricanes qualify as a legit ACC team at this point.
Ooh. I don't want to get into that conversation here.
All right, fine.
Leading off the 6th inning for the Panthers.
I imagine many of the folks on the FIU YouTube agree with me. That's just,
Yeah. Saying about quality.
Not that they might agree to that if it was, a World Series caliber Hurricanes team, but not this year. Andrew Defonso hitting leadoff, watching strike 1 as Meeks comes with an 87-mile-an-hour pitch to begin his day.
Say Ildy's due here, 0 for 2, which has been a little bit of the more on the rare side of things of the way he's been hitting the ball.
Yeah, done a phenomenal job. Right now, down 0-2 to the new pitcher, Meeks. Maddox comes home, much more standard delivery. Defonso's on it, and it eats up Muma at short. E6, and midweek continues to produce.
Yep, going to be probably officially an error as we expected there. 4th error of the game combined between the 2 teams there, and we've seen some funk. I will give the infield defense, some slack here. There's been some bad hops. There's been some interesting hops, high, low, but I'm sure a lot of the infielders will tell you they got to make some of those plays.
Yep. But that's why you play these games too, right? As Crespo fouls that straight back. You're going to have these errors over the course of a season.
You're right.
Ideally, it comes here. Of course, you want to win every game. But if you have 5 errors today and none on the weekend in A-Sun or CUSA play, these teams would take that every single time. Crespo watching one in the dirt.
If you're FIU, you made them pay in the 5th when you had the error. You have a leadoff error to start the 6th here. You have to kind of think the same mentality here.
Crespo got on with an E4. Ildy gets on with an E6. And now it's a 2-1 count here for Javi Crespo. Top 6 in our first of 2 straight here at Swanson Stadium with some league play in between. Crespo sends that one high into right. Giving chase Dempsey. He's got a long way to go, and it winds up foul.
There's a lot of room there down the right field line.
Ordinarily, in most parks, I would have just said foul and out of play, but that's a wide open corner.
Yeah.
The third baseman.
Nope. It looks like is it still Crespo?
Yeah, it's still Crespo. Javi Crespo is the third baseman.
Yep,
So.
PA reading his name again almost made me think that there was a catch out there. I mean, considering how much room is there,
Yep.
which is a far away from us, I'm thinking to myself, oh, maybe he did catch that. But no, it's still Crespo.
Crespo, with his second life, watches the ball high.
They're just trying to trick us out over here.
So 3 balls, 2 strikes. Working the mental game. Payoff pitch, the first for the youngster Meeks. Maddox comes home and gets the strikeout. Maddox Meeks, his 3rd career K. This one's looking, and Crespo heads back to the dugout.
The designated hitter, number 5, Kyle Kohler.
Fortunately, it's been a few strikeout lookings for FIU today, and FGCU, for the most part, yes, you get 3 runs in the top of the 5th. There was an error in there. They've been pretty impressive on the mound so far today.
Kyle Kaler comes back in. Ildefonso, the runner at first base, in a 7-3 lead for FGCU. And Kaler watches ball 1. Another time to kind of put our PA friends out of your mind. It is Kyle Kaler, not as has been announced here a few times, Kyle Kohler. An understandable mistake because of Tom Kohler of the Marlins, as Kaler sends that one high into center. Povey's got a long way to go, and Povey flexes his range, gets all the way to the track, and makes the play. One of the elite defensive center fielders in the A-Sun, who's already been on SportsCenter Top 10, just got a dead sprint for out number 2.
I thought as soon as I left the bat, I didn't think it was out of here, but I thought it was at least going to be a double or something. It was rocketed out, but there's kind of you mentioned, there's a lot of room down the right field, down right field. This outfield pretty large. And Povey's able to run that down there just right before the wall.
Probably 395 to left center. And almost into left field to illustrate the distance that Povey had to go. Sprinting the entire way, an optimum route. And well done by Harrison Povey.
And if he doesn't take that optimum route, that's a hit.
Yep.
Easy.
So Mark Hirsch down 0-1. Make it 0-2 after the foul. That top play for Harrison Povey, number 5 on SportsCenter, was against Stetson last month, a team that sits right atop the A-Sun, so extremely valuable and speaks to the ability of Harrison Povey. 0-2 here for the Panther freshman catcher Mark Hirsch. Freshman v. freshman as that one stays foul. Ildefonso still at first. 7-3, FGCU. Meeks set, belt high. Comes home, prototypical delivery, misses outside for a ball.
I like the 2-strike approach here from Hirsch. Fouled off a pitch, sees the ball. Extend the at-bat here for the true freshman.
hoping to continue this run of playing time that he's gotten. CUSA home run for his first. Certainly aid that cause. That skips away on Embry, and Ildefonso takes second. That ball will get tossed aside. So a fresh baseball for Maddox Meeks.
It's all the baseball's fault.
Always. Blame the equipment.
Yeah, why do you think the tennis players slam a racket sometimes?
Yeah.
Blame the equipment.
That's why they always have the backup racket, too. At least we don't have to check the PSI of the baseballs. Not a Deflategate situation here on the diamond. That one again in the dirt. Embry this time able to pick it up, though.
You really love this at bat if you're the FIU coaching staff here from Hirsch, working it from 0-2 to 3-2.
Looking to extend the inning with 2 outs, and Ildefonso in scoring position. Meeks, payoff, dropped in. 2 strikeouts on the frame, both of them looking. Coming into this, Maddox Meeks only had a few strikeouts in his career. He picks up 2 in this top of the 6th, and FGCU doing enough on the hill to bring a 4-run lead into the bottom of the 6th.
And now, Eagles fans, it's time to get on your feet. It's T-shirt time. Follow the Eagles at FGCU to see schedule and result updates during the 2025 season. Now pitching for FIU, number 25, Tristan Dietrich.
Tristan Dietrich will come up here for FIU. So another repeat customer against FGCU. The Eagles starting to get familiar. Again, all these guys know each other anyway.
Yeah.
They're all played from South Florida just about. But Dietrich does make a return appearance against the Eagles.
Yeah, this is Dietrich's 6th game of the year. We last saw him against Bethune-Cookman on the 25th of March. FGCU threw in 1 inning in the 3rd, 2 hits, 1 run, no earned. And someone that, has been in and out of the the 27-man roster for Conference USA, which requires managers to submit the 27-man lineup before the first game on Friday, but this week
Sure.
before Thursday.
Yep.
So we've thought maybe we'd see him a little bit. Hasn't worked out that way, but this is his, for his 6th appearance of the year. I'm looking forward to seeing him because we know we've been talking about Dietrich now for 2 years and the potential that he has and what the Marlins saw in him by spending a draft pick on him.
Right. Potential pro arm. Still getting some seasoning here in the college ranks. He faces Dempsey for the first. Dempsey looking to bunt. Can't find the baseball, so it's 0-1.
And you look at Dietrich, 6'4" left-hander. You could see why MLB teams were just looking at the kind of, obviously everyone looks for left-handed pitching. It's always been the case.
Yep.
Will always stay the case. But you can see he's got that kind of that build that you would love in a pitcher. And, taken by the Marlins in the 18th round back in 2023. And, I think the potential's still there. You've seen it in spurts, and it's really just about honing it in.
Dietrich comes inside. It's a fun story. He was buying his books to start his freshman year at FIU when he gets a call, hey, you've been drafted by the Marlins. Oh, okay. Takes a long time, thinks about it, decides he wants to honor his FIU commitment. And so here is Tristan Dietrich on the hill for the Panthers. 3-1 count here, though, against Evan Dempsey, who has not been retired yet today.
And it's not like Dietrich is a local, one of the guys who's not local from Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. So, yeah, definitely caught him off guard.
And ball 4. So Dempsey will remain perfect on the day. 2 doubles, a hit by pitch, and a walk. Quite the day for Evan Dempsey, and a leadoff base runner for FGCU.
Number 37, Robert.
And we've talked a little bit about Dempsey, kind of the way he's been pitching, especially moving up to the Saturday starter. But, man, he's just firing all cylinders now. Both, really using that effective two-way label.
Yep. Confidence begets confidence, right? And if you're feeling it on the hill, and he certainly is with 4 straight really good starts, it'll lead to success at the plate even when you're not pitching. Ball 1 to Robert Moya is up high. Moya sees the count level.
And I'll be interested to see how they do against Jacksonville. They have, the same deal going Thursday, Friday, Saturday with Easter Sunday. Now that it seems like FGCU's kind of figured out a little bit their rotation, seeing how they fare. Now they've won the last 2 A-Sun series, whether they're able to kind of ride that momentum here since they moved Dempsey into Saturday and then Rylan Bosenhart to Sunday. And obviously you have Diaz as their typical Friday starter.
The way the A-Sun has scheduled it here with the divisional almost pods, the last 2 series for the Eagles was against Queens and Jacksonville. Their next 2 series will be against Jacksonville and Queens.
Yeah, they just played Jacksonville back on April, like you said, between April 4th through the 6th.
Yep.
Interesting.
So you get real familiar with the teams in your division. You almost see that. You think, oh, wow, there must not be a lot of teams in the A-Sun. No, there are 12. There's plenty of teams in the A-Sun. But they just wanted to do it almost Major League Baseball style. AL, NL, if you will, and you play a lot of the teams in your league.
Probably helps with travel, too.
Absolutely. That's where it starts and ends. High hop right along the line. Crespo had the 1, but it sails away. And so Dempsey is able to take third. Throw in sails high as well, but everyone had already settled. So Moya to first, Dempsey to third, trying to get the lead runner at second. And the miscues continue to mount.
Yeah, going for Crespo there. I really don't think there was a play at first, considering how far he was down the left field line. Really, his only play was the second. I'm not even sure if a great throw probably gets the runner at second there. Unfortunately, I think it's going to end up being an error because the ball goes away and he goes to third. But even if that ball was right on, I'm not sure he gets him at second.
Would have required a pretty perfect throw, though Crespo does have a lot of strength.
And that's exactly it looks like what the scoring is, reaching fielder's choice.
Yep.
And then the errors only becomes why the runner gets to third, not second.
So it's Eagles at the corners with Mac Moyes coming up to hit. FGCU left 3 on the pond to close out that 5th, despite scoring 5 runs. So these bats are churning. And now Dietrich down 1-0 to Mac Moyes. FIU in danger here. You always want to keep it, as that is laced foul and out of play within 1 theoretical swing of the bat, which is 4 runs. FGCU lining up a potential knockout punch in the 6th. The Panthers still have plenty of time and can score runs in bunches in their own right. Moyes, high and again, foul.
I think that one you can confidently say foul and not have to look over there.
Yeah.
There hasn't been many of those with so much room out there.
Started tailing right before the FIU dugout, and that much height. That's when you're all right, get ready, reset. So 1-2 count, nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th. FGCU leading by 4 with Eagles at the corners. That one's laced a whole lot closer, and it's perfectly placed by Mac Moyes. FGCU can do no wrong. They still have 2 in scoring position. A Moyes double brings another RBI to his ledger and to the scoreboard. FGCU leads by 5.
That one was a no-doubter there. There's so much room over there. It looked like Deering was kind of playing in too, so a little surprised that they didn't try to send a runner out from third. But look, there's nobody out here in the bottom of the sixth. Makes sense. Keep it safe for if you're looking at it from the FGCU side. Runner staying at second and third there, even though tighter game, maybe one out, maybe you send the runner there, considering how much you got in the corner there. But FGCU elected to play it safe there. And you also have Harrison Povey coming up, which I'm sure adds to that thinking.
Povey nearly hit, but the ball just does evade his knees.
Looking for his second straight at bat with an RBI in this game.
Skies it into foul territory, but it will leave Swanson Stadium. Corey Brooks, Nick Garrido with you here on the FIU audio experience.
When did you come up with the FIU audio experience?
So, like all things, it is stolen because no one has any original ideas in broadcasting anymore. And I stole that one from Jason Jackson. As Povey laces it down the line. Great coverage by Adonis Velez to make the play. So Moya comes across. Run traded for out. Povey productive. But FIU does get at least one as Moyes also gets the third.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the score there, I think you would, for FIU, you'd take that. Unfortunately, look, you had no play at home there.
Right.
You got second and third. It's not even worth it. You take the fair out, which they did. Great play by Velez, and he's been good at second base, hitting and defensively so far in this one. And if you're FGCU, I think for both sides there, you take it.
Okay, and Hessmeyer gets a chance for his second straight RBI. And Dietrich gets the first out of the frame. That is hit well to left with a whole lot of carry. Driven nearly the length. Ildefonso is there. A super productive sac fly, and it's a career day for Caden Hessmeyer. His 2 RBI, he did it against Queens. He'll tie it now here against FIU.
For FGCU, again, another productive, they've had a couple sac flies. They've been able to get those runners home when they've had their opportunities. They made the most of their opportunities so far in this one.
John Embry.
John Embry's home run in the 4th really opened the floodgates for the ensuing 5th and now 6th innings. And so Embry gets a chance to come right back up. And John Embry swings and misses. Ball dips under the bat. Because you can't call it FIU radio anymore because we're not on the radio here. This is on YouTube. Appreciate you hanging out with us on youtube.com. So you've got to come up with a different way to describe it. And I thought Jax did it perfectly with audio experience. Down the right field line, Deering and Velez converging. And this time Austin Deering able to hold on and make the play. So 3 straight out recorded, but it's also 3 straight RBI before it. 3 runs on just 1 hit. The manufacturing by FGCU on point today. Eagles have a 7-run lead as we head to the 7th.
FGCU 10. Plan to come back to the nest next season. 2025-26 basketball season tickets are available now. Whether you're a returning season ticket holder or someone looking to join the flock, secure your seat for next season. For more info, call the ticket office at 866 FGCU TIX. Leading off the 7th inning for the Panthers, the second baseman, number 8, Adonis Velez.
Adonis Velez goes to work, 8-9-1 here for FIU. Final third as we go to the top of the 7th. This bottom part of the order has been productive, though. Both Velez and Ryan Hunter have hits today for FIU. Those hits will have to come in relatively short order with a 10-3 lead for Gulf Coast.
Yeah, for FIU, you just got to focus on getting on base, whether it's walk, take a walk, hit, if you got to take one in for a hit by a pitch, if you got to just get on base, you're down 7. It's not going to come from one at bat to the next, but you got to focus on getting runners on base.
Looping ball into Velez for strike 2.
I'm not sure you would have said before the game that Velez is the one you want up, but hey, it's been a kind of a funky one here at Swanson Stadium. It's 2 for 2.
2 for 2. So he'll set his new career high in that regard. Try and continue to deliver on that high water mark. Well outside, Velez doesn't chase the waste pitch.
And if you're FIU, I think if you're looking at it, like you've seen some positive moments from some of the freshmen. I thought Hirsch has looked probably as good as I've seen him defensively out there, and Velez has made some plays defensively. He's gotten a couple hits. I think you've seen what you wanted to, I think, from some of these freshmen that you've put in here.
Absolutely. It's the name of the game in the midweek. Obviously, you want to win.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it is about getting better as a team for the games this weekend that count in the conference standings. Lifted into right. Evan Dempsey retreating towards the wall. Crashed into it. Could not make the play. So Adonis Velez not only has his first 3-hit day, he's got his first double to go along with his first RBI. Yeah, rewriting the record books for Adonis Velez.
That ball just kept carrying and carrying. We kind of looked as if you hit it. We're like, we weren't sure if it was going to be routine, but it just kept carrying and carrying, and Dempsey looked like he thought he had it, and then took a funky hop off the wall. It's exactly what you want if you're FIU.
Runner in scoring position for Ryan Hunter. And Hunter goes after the first pitch. He sees Hessmeyer's on it. And this time the routine is made to be that way. Velez to third.
Ended up being a little closer than I think FGCU wanted there. Hunter, give Ryan Hunter credit. Don't give up on a play there. He was flying down that line, and the way FGCU tried to make that look there, looked like it was, they were thought it was a routine play, but Hunter kind of gave the umpire a look there, like it was closer than I think what we all expected there.
He got the emphatic out signal, which tells you it was a close play, but it does go down as the routine 4-3. Ball hit pretty much straight at Caden Hessmeyer, the second baseman for FGCU. Now an 0-1 count to Alex Ulloa. So 0-1, 1 out. And make it 0-2 as Ulloa swings through it. Alex in search of his first RBI today, came into today as the king in that regard for FIU. It's him tied with Keshawn Frett, who has the day off. One, two, dropped it off the table and strikes out Ulloa. That might be the best pitch in this outing for the young Maddox Meeks.
Yeah, FGCU's pitching has, like I said last inning, just been steady. Like they've given up some hits, they've had some base runners, but they've, when the time has come, when FIU's put the pressure on with a couple runners on base, they've been able to get out of trouble. And, for them, they're looking to kind of finish this half inning by getting out of trouble here with Brylan West.
West swings and misses. Maddox Meeks had 2 strikeouts in his career. Obviously very new to the program. Coming into this, he has 3 Ks today. West eaten up a little bit by Samuel on the left side, but he adjusts. It was hit right at Vincent Samuel, so he had plenty of time. 5-3 for the final out. Adonis Velez's double does not convert on the scoreboard. Bottom 7 we go. Eagles up by 7.
Left on base with the score. FIU 3, FGCU 10. All right, fans, it's time for the 7th inning stretch. Stand up, stretch those legs, and sing along with Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Now pitching for FIU, number 46, Bryce Turner. Leading off the bottom of the 7th inning for the Eagles, the third baseman, number 24, Vincent Samuel.
The run of guys continuing to see FGCU will continue as Bryce Turner enters for FIU to go up against Vincent Samuel and the Eagles. Bryce threw an inning and a third in round 1, also threw Sunday and did so very well, Nick, as that's fouled back.
Yeah, someone that throwing on Sunday. You typically he only threw an inning, but probably not someone that we necessarily penciled in for an appearance today. But only threw an inning on Sunday, so getting some work here. He's thrown his last 2 appearances, hasn't given up a run. Bethune-Cookman on the 25th of March, New Mexico, like we said on Sunday. So 2 scoreless innings for him, and see if he can build off that going into the weekend series.
Clearly working back into that bullpen a little bit. Gets a couple weeks off between the matchup with BCU and NMSU, but they trusted him against an offensively minded Aggies team, and he delivered. So now he'll come and drop that one in the dirt. Again, right back to that submarine sidearm style. Bryce's arm slot's a little higher.
Yeah, it's a little higher than we saw from compared to Leo's from FGCU's that we saw. What was I going to say, the fourth and fifth?
Mm-hmm.
But he's probably the closest to resemble it. But
right.
No, there's definitely some differences.
2 balls, 2 strikes, nobody out here. 10-3 lead in the bottom of the 7th for FGCU. Turner comes home with the off speed to run it full. Payoff pitch. Lifted into center. Ryan Hunter has eyes on it, and he will make the play.
Bryce is from Rockledge, Florida. You ever been to Rockledge?
I have not.
The shortstop,
It's near the Port Canaveral, so you take a cruise out of Orlando. Chances are you're probably going to drive by it, but
okay.
In the Orlando area.
Sure, I've driven by it.
I'm sure you have. If you've been to Port Canaveral, it's only about 45 minutes away from Orlando International Airport, around there. Nice little area, close to the beach.
Jake Mumoff from Palm Harbor. Palm Harbor I have been to.
I have not been to Palm Harbor.
There you go. Appropriately on Florida's Gulf Coast as we sit here at FGCU in Fort Myers. 2-0 here to Mumoff.
Yeah, St. Petersburg, Tampa, not an area I'm not too. It's kind of closer around there. I would say that's probably the area of Florida I am the least familiar with.
Okay. Spent a bit of time either hanging out in Tampa, as that goes straight back. And then the one summer I did the FGCL, the Florida Gulf Coast League in softball, out in the Bradenton area. So
I do like this area, though, a lot, especially
Amazing.
Bonita Springs, Marco Island, Naples.
Yep, amazing.
And if you're curious, you got two South Florida local boys here on this broadcast, so two Miami people here.
Yep.
But I do like this West Coast area. Spent a lot of time on Marco Island in my childhood.
Where we come to do staycations for the most
Yeah,
part.
and that's I think
We
Marco
come this
Island
way.
was my parent, which is funny. Like a lot of my friends had their, thought the same thing. But Marco Island was kind of my family's staycation.
Yep. 3-1. Mumas sees it, slide outside. He works the walk, passes the baton to Jake McKee. Yeah, we do Naples growing up.
Yeah, we used to love it. Now it's turned into a JW, but it's
Right.
the JW Marriott on Marco Island, which I know a lot of my friends had similar experiences. It was just a Marriott before, for a while there. Now it's kind of elevated in stature, but was always kind of the place that my family used to go to.
McKee watching ball one. Of course, this is all with the understanding that a staycation nowadays out here would be quite a bit more expensive than it was back when we were doing it.
Yeah,
But
well,
what
and
is
that's
it?
why I mentioned it used to be just I think a random Marriott, and now it's a lot of Marriotts now have gone to JWs. You've seen that a lot of different hotel brands. So a staycation, the west side of Florida was seen as significant. People would come and take be here for a week. It's it's definitely as most things in Florida have gone up in price.
Yep, in the world, but in particular, the South Florida markets, and I will use South Florida to encompass the Gulf Coast, which we don't usually do. 3-0 count here to Jake McKee, 10-3 lead for FGCU here in the bottom of the seventh.
And I think a lot of that is tied to just the working remote transition post-COVID. I think has only elevated that. Where a lot of people who work remote have come to move down here. I mean, what can you expect? Look at this. It's beautiful weather.
Right.
You're able to be outside a lot of the year. It's hot, but
Yep.
I think has only kind of, elevated that kind of philosophy.
McKee works the walk, back-to-back bases on balls. That led to a massive surge in prices in Miami and Broward County. And then once folks realized that that was too expensive, it led to a massive surge in prices out here on Florida's Gulf Coast. Dempsey watching strike one.
Dempsey from Tampa, Florida.
So right back to, once again, Florida's Gulf Coast.
Seems to be a trend here, if you get what we're
Yep.
saying.
A lot of the FIU guys from South Florida, Southeast Florida, if you want to be specific about it. We don't usually. But, and then, of course, FGCU pulling a lot from the Tampa St. Pete. Oh, and 2 to Dempsey, 1 out. Gulf Coast in control, make it 1-2. As Bryce Turner continues to work for FIU.
But I mentioned this earlier on the broadcast. Like, they have 7 guys from South Florida, when Miami-Dade and Broward. So they're not. Yes, I think the majority of their team you would say from this area, but FIU's got 10. FGCU has 7. So they're getting their players really from everywhere in the state of Florida. So. And it's worked well for them in the past couple of years. Like, they started slow last year, but FGCU, kind of went on a run, and they're kind of hoping the same thing. It hasn't been the start that they envisioned. I mean, the big thing, we haven't really talked about it yet, the Javier Corostola, one of their better hitters, hasn't played in a while.
Lifted to center, and it's down in front of Ryan Hunter. Mumas coming home and scoring. It's an 11 spot for FGCU.
And Evan Dempsey continues to just tear up FIU pitching.
He's got himself a 3-hit day.
First baseman, number 37, Robert.
Had 4 hits against Queens last weekend to reset his career high. But they just continued to come in, did these Gulf Coast hitters, hitting the ball well, took advantage of a young Queens team, and that momentum has clearly carried over for FGCU. Karsten Whitson out of the Panther dugout. he signals for the pen. A pitching change for FIU with the Eagles up 8.
Now pitching for FIU, number 42, Shane Tucker.
Shane Tucker will make his 3rd appearance for FIU. And right as we talk about, hey, there are some South Florida guys on this FGCU team. Hialeah's own Robert Moya will step up for the Eagles.
Yeah, with Tucker, again, we talked about guys who are seeing FGCU for the second time. Tucker, seeing FGU for the second time, was actually his first appearance of the year when he pitched back on March 11th through a shutout inning. It's only the 3rd time we've seen him, but hasn't given up a run. Only 1 1/3, very limited sample size. Graduate student from LIU, who FIU saw last year.
Yep.
Did not pitch last year, though, but FIU did see LIU in a series.
So a different version of a tale that we're seeing a lot of in the transfer portal era, which is you play a guy, you realize how good he is, and then the next year you bring him onto your team instead of facing him.
Probably saw him in the dugout, but,
Yeah,
did not pitch.
Not in this case, no.
Did not pitch a game last year for LIU.
It's happened a good amount in basketball.
Yeah.
As that transfer portal era starts here and really now, football's going to hit the accelerator tomorrow as the portal opens up. Drop that thing right under the bat.
Great pitch.
Had just enough vertical break to dodge Moya, who was swinging high in the zone. Moya has not struck out today. He's got a 2-2 count here with 1 out. And sure enough, a phenomenal start for Shane Tucker.
Should say that more often.
Yeah, no kidding. So Shane's got his first out. Mac Moyes, who has struck out, so I can't go back to the well here, but has also got an RBI double in the 6th. Was hit by a pitch in the 5th in RBI fashion as he watches ball 1. You asked me earlier where did I come up with FIU audio experience. I told you it was Jason Jackson. But how do you feel about that being the title of these YouTube broadcasts?
I like it.
Okay.
I mean, this is only the second one that we've done.
Yep.
Right? Second one, yes.
Second one. First one was at Marlins Park. Lone Depot Park.
Nice job catching yourself there.
Yeah, well, I messed it up when we were there, too.
I still call it Marlins Park.
I think most of us do.
I mean, we're born and raised in South Florida. Like, it's just.
I was probably batting 80% or so in that broadcast. But Billy Gill loves few things more.
Than to torment you?
That, yes. And further, correcting stadium names.
Did he say it wrong once?
No. He was 100%. I was probably 80%. And once or twice when I slipped and said Marlins Park, he let me know.
Of course he did. Would expect nothing less.
3-1 here to Mac Moyes with the caveat that sometimes you do have to refer to it as Marlins Park when you were talking about the football game between the two teams that were playing there in FIU and the Hurricanes. Then it was Marlins Park. So sometimes it's right.
Great day in FIU history, by the way.
In 2019 matchup as that's fouled and sailed straight back.
I'd be interested to see if those two teams, Miami and FIU, play and make that a yearly tradition to play there in baseball. I think both teams love the experience this first time around. I'd be interested to see if that ends up picking up steam as a regular.
3-2, appeal down, did not go. So Moyes held up in time. And he does indeed take the walk. So a full count goes to 4-2. And Harrison Povey gets to hit with the bases loaded. FGCU up 11-3.
Not a bad pitch there from Tucker, though. It was definitely borderline close there on the swing. Held up just in time for the walk, but not a bad pitch there and almost got the strikeout.
Was inches away. On the barrel of the bat, Povey watches one low and inside.
It's batting 1,000 with the bases loaded.
There you go.
Unfortunately, it doesn't say how many at-bats he's had.
I'm going to guess it's not very many.
We don't see those numbers on here, but I can tell you he is batting 1,000.
Yep, every opportunity he's come up with a knock. Bender makes it 2-1. It was a cool opportunity. Came down to one swing of the bat. FIU was right there with the Hurricanes, which would kind of prelude the matchup in Coral Gables, where the Panthers would thoroughly dominate.
And round 3 of those two teams will be next week.
Yep, the first one for FIU that will be played at FIU. The FIU Baseball Stadium awaits. 2-2 becomes 3-2. Nowhere to put Povey.
And here's my marketing plug. You can watch that game on ESPN Plus.
There you go.
Next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern from FIU Baseball Stadium.
Be our second game in as many days across the network. We'll be here the day before for some day baseball. Payoff pitch. Povey laces it foul just over the FIU dugout down that first base line.
And we'll have 4 baseball games in 5 days there with the Friday through Sunday.
Yep.
FIU will be hosting the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, who are in the top 2 of Conference USA. Should be a good series.
4-game week on E+. 5 broadcasts for you overall as the season begins to wind down. 3-2. Povey swings right through it. Shane Tucker will strand the bases loaded. He comes in and strikes out 2 of the 3 he faces. 1 run on 1 hit. The lead 8 for Gulf Coast.
3 runners left on base with the score. FIU 3, FGCU 11. Baseball returns home to face FIU again next Tuesday, April 22nd at 2 p.m. Now pitching for FGCU, number 7, Hunter Posell.
Top 8 we go. FIU with 6 outs to build a bit of momentum headed into their weekend series against Kennesaw. They will send 3, 4, 5 to bear here, will the Panthers, and they will do so against the new Eagles pitcher. Hunter Posell will be making his 8th appearance. He's thrown 13 2/3 to this point on the year.
Yeah, redshirt freshman. He's pitched, he's gotten a decent amount of experience. I mean, he's pitched in 7 games, but he's had, he's not coming in. He's only got 1 game where he pitched less than an inning. There's really the one that sticks out to us is really that game against FAU back on March 25th, threw 5 1/3. And the reason why he threw 5 1/3, he only got 2 runs against a dynamic FAU offense, and only threw 7 9 pitches too. So it wasn't like he had a super long outing there, but that's been his best outing. And the last pitch against JU back on April 6th.
Austin Deering will be the one to welcome into the game, and he watches strike 1.
From Nokomis, Florida. I will not lie to the audience, and I do not know where that is. I'm currently looking it up.
I'm going to guess on the Gulf Coast. Snailed it.
I'm just going to nod. And that's what I would have guessed, too. But I have not been to Nokomis, Florida.
Sarasota County.
Yep.
Right.
I've been to Sarasota, but
Maybe
maybe I've driven by it.
Maybe you've been there. Time called at the plate.
Town's population of 3217.
There you go. John Embry needing a moment to reset the catcher's gear.
It's got a total area of 1.9 square miles.
Almost definitely drove through it then.
All right, I'm done.
0-2 to Deering.
Austin Deering, not from Nokomis, Florida.
I was going to say from West Virginia, so different game there. Though he's from Hurricane, West Virginia, which...
You been to West Virginia?
Does sound more like a Florida town than a West Virginia one. No.
I've heard great things about West Virginia. Haven't been, though. I have cousins there on my wife's side.
Right up the middle, Austin Deering, his 2nd hit today. That's one of those, at least from what I understand, if you like the nature of it and, rolling hills.
I've seen pictures. Yeah,
that's where you go.
Number 30.
Wife's family's house.
Andrew
But they're also
Ildefonso.
big into West Virginia football, and they have season tickets. And
There you go.
they told me that going to a West Virginia football game is definitely an experience.
I'm sure.
And I have friends in college. My best friend in college, all his friends from home went to West Virginia, and I've heard a lot of great stories about West Virginia football games.
Loyal fan base in Morgantown, watching
Very.
strike 1.
And dedicated and very loyal. Almost, when things don't go well.
Yeah. I think it was either the Backyard Brawl, which is West Virginia and Pitt, either this year or last, where, yeah, to your point, when things don't go well, stuff tends to fly 1-1 to Ildefonso. 11-3 is the FGCU lead here in the top of the 8th.
Hits almost identical between these two teams, which would not tell you that the runs are that far apart. 9 hits for FGCU, 8 for FIU.
Untimely errors and free passes, the difference in our ball game here this evening. And the extra base flex by FGCU. Half swing leads to a foul ball and strike 2.
I think we've only had, what, one home run so far today, too? So it hasn't necessarily been the long ball
Right.
either for both teams. And both teams can hit the long ball, too, which is a little surprising.
Dempsey's had a couple doubles as that goes straight back.
Yeah. No, so considering 14 combined runs with only one home, I'm not sure I would have said if there's 14 combined runs in this one that we would have only seen one home run. I would have told you probably seeing a few.
Sure. Five runs coming in that fifth. It happened on 3 hits. And then 3 runs on 1 hit. Kind of underscore how FGCU has built this margin. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Ildefonso. Ildy sends that one straight back to keep the count right where it is. Austin Deering, the runner at first here in the top of the 8th. FGCU in control. Little battle here, an 8-pitch scrum between Andrew Ildefonso and Hunter Purcell, the new pitcher for Gulf Coast.
There hasn't been too many of these, I would say, from FIU's end. I mean, you know, FGCU throwing Jordan Vera to start this game, and someone who doesn't walk a lot. You saw FIU trying to hit him early, but there hasn't been these extended at-bats.
Right back up the middle, this time with height, so it's a pair of cranks down Broadway. Deering laced it over the bag. Ildefonso sent it about 8 feet in the air, and it's back-to-back base knocks for the Panthers.
That's all you can do. Get on base, pass the baton.
The third baseman, number 6,
Javi Crespo in search of his first hit today, though he did reach in the 5th and eventually come around to score. At a bare minimum, build momentum for Kennesaw as that skips in front of Embry. And it wound up catching a piece of Javi Crespo. So the bases are full for FIU. And Kyle Kaler, who was about 7 or 8 feet away from a home run.
This will be, considering he's had limited sample size, not surprising to see. This is his first at-bat with the bases loaded in his career here at FIU.
Biggest opportunity of his young Panther time. Even with this as an 8-run game, both these teams can score and score quickly. Bases loaded, nobody out. FIU looks for the spectacular, down 11-3 in the top of the 8th. Kaler watches an inside strike. Purcell searching for his first out in this 8th inning. Deering, Ildefonso, and Crespo, the runners for the Panthers. 1-1 to Kaler, becomes 1-2. Purcell puts it in the dirt. Mark Hirsch is on deck. So Rich Witten opting to keep the true 9 here instead of going to the bench. Kaler down looking. Hunter Purcell's got his first strikeout of the game.
Fortunately for FIU, just too much strikeouts looking. I think it's their 5th, I want to say, in this one.
Number 12,
Yep.
Mark Hirsch.
Unfortunately, and they've come at just bad times for them. You know, when they're trying to make a run to get back into it. Strikeout looking has just been just too much of a common theme today.
9 Ks overall. You tip your cap to the FGCU pitching. They have found the right answers. That was just straight velo in the 90s. In Kaler's kitchen, Mark Hirsch does watch ball 1. And the left-hander Purcell down 2-0. Hirsch fouling out of play. It was one of those from the onset that just felt a little bit off. You know, things like getting picked off and little moments that build up over the course of a game. And credit FGCU, they forced FIU to make some plays. Baseball's a funny game, though. An inch here, an inch there. Even an 8-run game can be completely different. Hirsch drives it into foul territory, and Mark Hirsch just to the right of the foul pole.
Yeah, and even for FIU, it didn't start well, but you look at it in the bottom of the fifth, you go into the bottom of the fifth with a 3-2 lead. So as much as it wasn't working early, it really didn't kind of get away from you until that bottom fifth, bottom sixth, where FGCU goes for 8. And now all of a sudden you went from a 1-run lead, you know, to down 7. And, you know, before you could really blink.
Right. This game can come at you fast, but they've got the bases loaded right now for Hirsch. Hirsch sends it to the shortstop, Mumma. He's got the short one. Turned to first by Hesmeyer. In time as well. FGCU turns 2, and the bases go from loaded to cleared with no runs across. Gulf Coast has come into their own. They had a great weekend against Queens, and it has carried over. A team that loves to surge late is doing just that as we go bottom 8.
FIU 3, FGCU 11. And now, fans, it's time for tonight's sing-along session.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, all my memories gather round her. Miner's lady, stranger to blue water. Dark and dusty, painted on the sky. Misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, I hear her voice in the morning hour. She calls me. The radio reminds me of my home far away. Driving down the road, I get a feeling that I should have been home yesterday.
Leading off the bottom of the 8th inning for the Eagles, the second baseman, number 15, Caden Hesmeyer.
Marion Stanberry enters for FIU, an inning and a third to this point for the Panthers, as it is a foul ball to begin this at-bat for the youngster Caden Hesmeyer.
Another, you know, true freshman, so he's had some freshman moments this year, but he's ranked as the 79th right-handed pitcher in the state of Florida by perfect game, so definitely has potential, and FIU looking to see what he's got here, to see if he can get some confidence going here, and to see if he can get kind of ride the ship and try to get his freshman year going back the way he would want it to.
Strong first fall in Miami. Came in the Fall World Series for FIU, wound up a bases-loaded jam. He got out of it, and they really liked his work. A lot of high praise from the coaches coming into this year. Just a youngster looking to figure it out, as he's got 2 balls, 2 strikes on his fellow true freshman, Hesmeyer. Rolled up by Javi Crespo on the left side. He took 2 steps to his right and has the throw in time for out number 1.
I like the fact that his favorite food is a burger.
Which leads to the inevitable question, what's the best burger in Miami?
As soon as I read that, I was like trying to figure out because I figured that question was coming,
Okay.
and I'm not sure I have. I'm still not sure I have an answer.
It's not an easy one.
It's not an easy one, no, and it's not because there's not a good burger.
It's a lot.
Yeah, there is. I don't know if there's one that like stands out. I also feel like there's different types. There's just so many different types of burgers.
You almost have to break it down into, are you talking fast food burger or is that high
Correct,
John Embry?
and that's exactly what I would say. I think there's you got to go two different categories. If you're talking about like burger chains or like fast food, I would probably lean more. I love a good Five Guys burger from that category, but that's not a unique Miami thing.
It's not.
So I'm trying to find a unique Miami burger. You have an answer? Because I'm still struggling for one.
Not particularly.
Yeah.
That's in tight. It will wind up on John Embry's elbow, so he's hit by a pitch. Embry reaches base with 1 out.
Yeah, still stumped on that one. I'm drawing some blanks there. And don't get me wrong, I've had burgers, I'm a very big burger connoisseur, but not one that comes to me.
It's not to say there aren't great burger places. It's just we don't want to name one and then,
Yeah, there's not one that, like, I would say stands out. And, of course, probably everyone listening to this is probably going crazy at us from Miami. A lot of Miami places now going to the smash burger concept, too, which is kind of taken over.
Right. Vincent Samuel called time. He'll reset. Embry, the runner, over at first. I tend to lean, and this is about as South Florida as it gets, but if you can get a burger with some fritas, then you all of a sudden are kind of cooking in a unique South Florida way.
I have to be in the mood.
The little crunchy fries, by the way.
I like the crunchy fries. I do.
Stung for 3, back-to-back base knocks. Vincent Samuel has his first hit.
I have to be in the mood for a frita because a frita, there's to me a big difference between the way a frita is. Like, there's some really, really good ones, but if it's not made well, it can be closer to the dry side.
Oh, absolutely. There's some that really rely on the crunchy fries.
Correct.
That use it as a supplement.
There's a place by me that is El Mago de los Fritas that apparently makes the best one. I need to go and try it. They claim they do, but everyone claims they do.
Jake Muma wears that one on the shoulder, hit by pitch. Yeah, I think our friends in Hialeah would not love the idea that you just said the best fritas in
Yeah, they claim
Miami.
that they do, but I think everyone will claim they make the best food,
Oh, for sure. At least if you're making food for a living, I hope that's your claim, right?
that's what it is.
It better be. Base is full here for FGCU. Embry, Samuel, and Muma, the runners for the Eagles.
The left fielder, number 1.
And they will flip the baton for Jake McKee.
I wonder what Jake McKee's favorite food is. Want to open the window and ask him?
There you go. He's from right here in Fort Myers, hometown kid.
I don't mind a good burger right now after this game ends.
Hey, preaching the choir on that one. Don't know as much about the food scene out here.
I don't either. I only know this area by FGCU.
I do have a couple of strong suggestions as far as drinking establishments goes. Have done some of that out this way, and there are a lot of good ones.
I mean, having a drink by the beach. I mean, what beats that?
3 balls, 1 strike here to Jake McKee. And ball 4. So McKee will walk in a run as Embry scores. The lead is 12-3. We'll also push Samuel to third. If he touches the plate, FGCU will win.
Evan Dempsey.
And Evan Dempsey, who's had a monster day, steps into the right batter's box.
I mean, he's had a perfect day, I would say. I'm not even sure what he's had a perfect day at the plate, pretty much.
Monster double, perfect.
I mean, I guess he doesn't have a home run.
Knocked down by Hirsch as it sailed wide. Double, hit by pitch, walk, single. The day so far for Dempsey.
That good?
It's certainly not bad. Taking the entire way. They're going to test the young Stanberry. Dempsey had essentially rested the bat on his shoulder.
That must be a devastating feeling there for your pitcher. Just resting it on your shoulder.
Name of the game at this level, 3-0. One more ball to Dempsey. And the lead will be 10 here in the 8th. Taking the whole way. Dempsey will put down the bat. He works the walk. It is 13-3, FGCU. And the cheer from the dugout, FGCU ready to take the field. And sure enough, that is how it will come to an end. A walk-off walk for Florida Gulf Coast. Brings this one to a conclusion.
And
Evan Dempsey puts the capstone on a perfect day at the plate. And FGCU will win this season series against FIU. But the Panthers do have a chance for some revenge a week from today. Be right back here on Tuesday afternoon here on YouTube, the FIU audio experience, however you prefer to think of it. We appreciate you hanging out with us today. This was one, Nick, where FGCU just did everything right.
Yeah, they did everything right, and I think, FIU, if you look at their lineup, looking to get some guys some experience, and, combined with FGCU doing everything right, it was one of those games. And again, you look at the final score, 13-3, but FIU had a 3-2 lead going into the bottom of the 5th. So it wasn't, this game wasn't out of reach from the very beginning of this game. FGCU goes for 8 between the 5th and the 6th, and that kind of changed the game and just kind of piled it on late. But, if you're looking at it from FIU, you still got to look at a couple of the guys who you put in there, Adonis Velez being one of them, who had obviously his best game of his career. And, you're hoping that can continue for both these teams. Usually go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as we said. Now going Thursday, Friday, Saturday because of Easter. FIU will hit the road. They'll drive back to down I-75 back home. We'll take a flight to Kennesaw, Georgia tomorrow. So busy week for them, and they've been good in conference play. They've won 3 of the 4 series. Yeah. And I think you try to erase this one and go back to work.
2 relatively short trips for each team. Atlanta, the flight for FIU. Jacksonville, the trip for FGCU, and we'll catch up with those teams and how those series go a week from today at Swanson Stadium. But for this one, for my broadcast partner, Nick Garrido, I'm Corey Brooks, our entire team here at FIU. FGCU wins this one. Certainly hope you'll join us for some day baseball on a Tuesday afternoon. We'll talk to you then from right here in Fort Myers.